All right, we're live. Welcome in, everyone, back to the channel, or welcome back, welcome in if you're new. We have K4K crypto here, legend who has risen very quickly in the Hex and PulseX community here on YouTube, creator on Twitter as well. You're on Twitter,
Yeah, I'm on Twitter.
and so yeah, this is gonna be a fun stream. There are already like 20 people waiting, so start dropping your questions and whatnot. We have
Oh, cool. I
probably a
want to
good
see
amount.
questions.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
there's
I'm sure you
live
can
on
see it on
YouTube,
your
right?
end.
Oh,
Yeah,
check
you
it out.
could probably open a tab. Just make sure to mute it so you don't get feedback.
Right. Awesome. What's up,
So
everybody? Good to be here with Gerardo. I've been watching his stuff since he started. I was like, I'm so glad this guy's in our community. And like, this is before I was making any videos. And I was just like, dude, this guy's awesome. He's like me. He's doing all this awesome stuff. Dude, your site is really good. I use that for onboarding and stuff just to show people if they know anything about charts or comparing anything. Like a chart is a good way to compare things, and you do that really, really well.
thanks,
So
man.
I use that.
Like good, smart recognizes smart maybe, but like when I started watching your content, I was like, oh, finally someone to like take the reins, so to speak, because
Yeah.
I'm serious, man. Like the numbers reflect it. You've been growing like crazy. It's nuts, and it's really cool to see because you probably like earned it with the logic, the just good beefy videos. I think you did like 30-minute or hour-long videos to start, kind of tapered it back. But no, they're good, man. They're dense, good content, little Easter eggs, full of Easter eggs that like I hadn't thought about.
Yeah,
In a
there's a
few of
lot
those
of
videos.
stuff that I mean,
So
I
that's
thought
really
everyone
cool.
thought about this game theory stuff, honestly, before I started
Yeah.
making the videos. And so I just started putting it out there to see if I could help improve my own thoughts. Cause I was like, I thought I was behind. I was like, oh man, I gotta
Right.
get this stuff out there. And then and because I thought it would help me. And I wanted to share what I already had for the people who weren't at that level yet. Because the more people we can bring up to speed, the more useful everyone becomes that we talk to.
I thought about that. Yeah, it's like when you ask yourself, do I share the information or not? It's like, well, it levels up the playing field and it makes the conversations better, right?
That's
So
right.
there's no like hoarding information, like makes no sense, especially in an information era where info has been commoditized like it is. It's just like there are new levels to this, so to speak. But yeah, I'm just reading that.
Some of the stuff's like time sensitive too. So if I do figure something out, I'm like,
Yes.
man, I better make a video before someone else who's smart does this too. And I'm like, I want to get some cred for this, you know?
I think about that a lot too. Yeah. That that first mover advantage, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
someone's gonna think about this. And like the SEO specifically, like the algorithm catches the first ones quickly when it's new content. So it's like
True that. Yeah.
but they'll feed off each other because it's not always best to be the first mover if it's not quality, right? Because
Right.
then
I
it's like,
really try to think it through before I make stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
Because I
No,
don't
you
want to
can
just
tell.
spread FUD or something that wasn't true. Imagine like spreading FUD that wasn't even like based in truth. That's like the worst thing you
Yeah.
can do. So I definitely don't want to do that.
Oh, we got Crypto Bobcat in the chat. What's up? He
Hey,
makes
what's
good
up?
vids too. Two best minds at work. Let's go. Thank you, bro. I'm just reading the chat.
You, Bobcat, and like Jenkins are they like the top 3
crushes, bro?
TAs just crushing it all the time? Yeah. I do
Jenkins
watch that
crushes.
it's so entertaining to me because I'm like, I just like seeing that there's how this can go, that's fun to look at.
Right? No, for sure. I mean, all the charts kind of do the same.
Yeah. I mean, I look at like the macro scale more so because I'm just like, I know where we're going. But if I hear like a good news tweet and then like they're gonna show a chart, I'm like, I'll go look at that because it's gonna be good news. I don't want to hear about how there's one more leg down, guys.
I know, right? No one wants to hear that. But hey, sometimes we have people like that tell you like, yo, this could happen. Like illuminating the downside is very important, especially in crypto. It's like, yo, this could go down 70% and then 70% again and 70%.
Right.
Like, just keep going. But no, for sure, dude. We've had a nice bounce today, if you noticed, crypto markets.
Yeah, we're really bouncing.
Bounce.
Didn't we go up to like 22 cents? We like poked through twice in the past couple days or something.
I think we poked to 23 cents the wick, then 23 cents another wick, or like at 22 cents almost right now.
Oh,
not bad.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I honestly don't check the hex chart every day. I'm happy to say it,
nice. Probably shouldn't. That's good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm focused on other stuff. I really am curious about how they're gonna like the one thing I'm working on now.
Yeah.
Which I can't go into depth really yet, because I have to do more
feel.
research, is either the DAO we're going to use, like potentialities, like how will that look? And then also how is like Maker and Compound and Aave going to work after that? After like how are they going to fix those ratios, because it's collateralized by a lot of those pools by Ethereum. If it just turns into Pulse, obviously they're not equalized or ratioed up like the dexes were. So not right.
Well, that's probably
But
not as simple math, right?
yeah, it's
As the
not.
dexes where it's just like ratios. So my guess would be they might just have to redeploy empty after having like redeploy
Yeah, they'll
again
probably just
after
have to
having done the math on what like the value needs to be, or just empty. Launch empty, I guess.
Yeah.
All
maybe.
over again. Relaunch. Redeploy, I guess. Yeah.
Huh.
Hmm.
Because they use oracles a lot in there, so I don't know how our devs could change the information inside those pools and stuff, because it's oracle based as opposed to like an AMM is its own oracle. So
That's some work on their end then if they want to redeploy.
that's like to the limit. I that's something I would love if someone was like, oh, K4K, I got the answer for you. I'm gonna send it to you in a DM. That's what I would love if that happened. It never happens, by the way.
I mean, who knows? You could tweet at them, like whoever the founders or devs are of these things. Be like, and you don't even have to mention PulseChain. Just if you'd be like, an Ethereum fork. In theory, how would a redeployment work, fixing ratios since token values are different of native assets? Like, tweet it to them.
Because even if like I also like when I'm trying to figure, if I'm trying to figure out how something will kind of work on PulseChain, you can also think of it if there was another fork just like PulseChain, but they didn't increase the supply amount, and they just were like, all right, we're just going to replace ETH with this token called, we'll say X token. And it's the exact same amount, but you know that's not the same exact dollar amount either. Whenever dollar gets involved eventually. So you're like, okay, well, that would still have to get fixed eventually anyway. So I don't know. All those loan tokens that are getting like, because in like Aave, whenever you have like a token that's ain't earning yield, it gets like a little prefix usually. It'll be like it'll be like A and then the name of the token, AETH or something, and then because it's earning interest. But you can also use it in other DeFi stuff. It's like you can compound your risk to contracts, but you can like you can have an interest bearing ETH and then use that in a contract to gain more stuff, so it's really super money Legos. It's really crazy. We're on the edge of this tech. It's so cool.
I know the composability, right, of these things, the fact that they like plug and play with each other. You get trustless leverage. Wreck yourself trustlessly, right?
Yeah, dude, that's hilarious. That would be a good t-shirt.
I mean, that's the pitch basically. They should advertise like that.
So what are you most excited about for this Pulse launch and stuff, other than the mad gains?
Let's see, mad gains. Number 2, probably mad gains. 3, mad gains. 4 is when it gets interesting. No, the AMM fixer bot doing its thing, like just this whole design, seeing how this system like plays out, just the whole bit, right? From a macro perspective, like the grand experiment that this whole thing is.
It is a huge experiment. Yeah.
I just want to like let that sit and be a kind of like a thing for a month or 2, 3.
Yeah, I want to see it working. I want to see it working. That's my goal. That would be great.
Yeah, man. Like it'll be awesome. Cheap transactions are the best. I remember those days. You probably remember those days.
Oh yeah, like you could stake Hex for less than $1.
A penny, bro. Do you remember the penny days?
Oh yeah.
So good.
Like it's so long ago, I can't even remember it, but you didn't even used to think about it. You're like, oh, transaction. It was such a little number, you never even thought about it.
Yeah. I had this like, I still get the nostalgia sometimes. Sometimes I would just sit in my room and be like, all right, I'm gonna get this staking ladder in real quick. And it's like, all right, 10, 20, 30 stakes didn't matter. And it'd be like, all right, spent less than $1 just setting up a quick like 15-year staking ladder in a few minutes. It was the best. Good old days. But most excited about the overall system. I'm really excited about the PulseX yield pools and how that whole incentive token is going to work. And
Right.
and
That
all
is really
that.
fun
But
because you can really dress that kind of whole system up, the yielding part, and make it
uh
kind of fun. Like I don't know if you remember the food token farming days with like yams
I do remember that.
and
They're super popular.
yeah, that was super popular. All the different tokens coming out. Because like they would dress up the pools and they'd have different names for the pools. It'd be like the something turtles, and it wasn't related to
Mhm.
like levels like squid and stuff for
Yeah.
hex and stuff. But what did they have? Because it was always like the first letter. It was like alliteration. So for like
Mm.
Link, it'd be like the what's an animal that starts with an L? I don't know.
Like a
Li-
lemur.
yeah, it was something like that. The Link lemurs. I don't know. That's not one
Okay.
of them, but it was always, or it was like food related. So something like
Mm.
that.
Did
But it's
that
just kind of
stuff?
fun. You join like a team almost
Yeah, yeah. Tribalism, right? Human nature.
a little
Did
bit.
that go to zero or no? Or is it like still running? Like,
Those all went to zero, dude.
oh no.
They're all
I
zero.
heard you talking about this. You were like back in the day, you could use a strategy where it was like, all right, you get some yield to rotate out before it goes to zero, and just
Yeah.
like,
It
or
was
is that what
way
you did? Or
fast-paced back then because
I'll talk about that.
they would pop some of these would pop up from anonymous people, and I'm not like a super dev, so the only way I was checking if I would get rugged or not was I had a difference checker and took I knew the sushi because what they copied was the sushi chef contract, which basically
Hmm.
just mints coins per block, and they would just change the name of the coin and in the logo. That was the new token because the hype was, oh, if this becomes like if sashimi swap becomes the new Dex main thing, then I'll own a whole bunch of the coins that get revenue share. So that was the big hype of all of these food coins because Sushi
Okay.
Swap did it, and they were like, oh, well, if that anonymous team can do it, maybe this anonymous team's better, and I'm really early
Mm.
to this one. And anyway, so people would farm all these things, and usually they would end up scamming, or of course if there's no actual development later on, you just got a bunch of tokens that are worth nothing. But
All
since
right.
people didn't know how to value them in the first 48 hours, you could sell them for multiple dollars each and you got them thousands for free because all you did was provide
Mm.
liquidity. You didn't sell anything. So so it was it was really crazy. And I was doing that like on a laptop at my girlfriend's house at the time. It was not safe environment.
I see.
It was pretty fun though.
Good. Those are probably nostalgic days for you now.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, back when like DeFi didn't really exist until Uniswap existed. Like what did we have before? You had freaking what's that one with the it was was it something swap? I no. What is it called? Remember those old dexes that were terrible? You had it was limit orders, but there was no liquidity there, and you would accidentally sell all your stuff for nothing.
Ooh, bad.
Because we would see these crazy wicks, people would just put bids really, really, really low because the interface was so bad. Some people would accidentally sell multiple hundreds of ETH for nothing. That's what I remember the old dexes were. And then Uniswap came along, and that's what's allowed all this basically free trade to happen again and all this new real innovation to come about because there's no borders or laws able to stop this code. So
Hmm.
you're able to actually trade with people you want to trade with your own money. So you
Hmm.
can get wrecked if you don't know what you're doing, but you can
Hmm.
also make a lot of money if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're replacing all of the components, right? Like the banking components, the obviously the CD narrative component, the
Mhm.
swapping component, right? These clobs that have been used forever. Now we have AMMs, and they've only been around for what, like 3 years, 2, 3
Right.
years. And
Yeah.
you touch on this a lot. You're like, people say, oh, it's just an AMM coin. What can that do for PulseX? And you're
Hmm.
like, bro, AMM coins have only been around for like
Yeah. And they're
less than
huge.
AMMs themselves, and you
They're
haven't
very
seen like
important.
you haven't seen insane game theory baked into them as much as something like this bootstrapping community like this. Like
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
you could probably touch on that, but
This is the mega recipe for victory, in my in my opinion. For like, yeah, if you compare, because people say, how can you beat a layer one? It's never been done. Well, first off, I'm pretty sure Hex has already done it. It's already beat the layer one in returns.
oh
If you
yes,
consider
I liked the math you did on that.
if you consider staking rewards,
Hmm.
Hex has already done it. And it's like, oh, even if it hasn't done it yet, quite by like whatever how close it is. Because if you think about it, Like what do we say? ETH did a 14,000 or 16,000x from its lowest, we say, and then Hex did 10,000x. Okay, well, if
Before
Hex 2x is from all-time high, then it definitely has beaten it, right, guys? You'll accept it then. And then it's like once one has done it, it's going to be like, oh, well, there's no barrier to that ever again, so people can literally stop saying it after that. But once one's done it, it's almost like when the guy ran the fastest mile or whatever. Then everyone just like they started beating that time. It was like it opened the gates. And so
great
I think
analogy.
PulseX and I think PulseChain and all these Richard Hart, like the Richard Hart team, their goal is to make the best performing assets in history. That's the team I'm putting my money with. I don't know about you guys who are going for fundamentals or whatever. It's like you can enjoy your 2x and we'll go 10,000x, and you can be like, but fundamentals. And okay. And Richard's so right. Richard is so right when he's like, okay, if you liked your Bitcoin so much, you could have 100x your Bitcoin. If you just put your money in this risky, if you think it's risky option for this amount of time, you just 100x and you go back to Bitcoin, and then you can be like, glad I'm back in the safe thing, and then we'll just keep going up anyway. Like, good luck calling the top on this stuff.
But my fundamentals. Yeah, man. So you said it what versus Bitcoin? I just wanted to like double check that we got the right numbers.
Oh, it's way more than 100x.
Let's see. We're right now roughly still sitting at 100x even after this dip. Well, not exactly, because right now
like
Bitcoin's
at
up.
the all-time. Weren't we like 1500x what Bitcoin did?
Oh, from all-time low?
Yeah, I thought that was it was something like that. 1300, 1500. But we're 100x Bitcoin what right now? Nice.
Roughly from
launch.
From the beginning of like this cycle, so to speak, right? It's interesting to see like, all right, Hex initial dip, whatever, and then March 2020 capitulation kind of reset everything. If you see here, like clustered them all together again.
Man, Hex really took a dumperino in the first few, was that 100 days or so?
Yeah, it was a 87% dip.
This sacrifice way of launching a coin is way better for price than
probably
than the dude. The Hex launch was, I mean, I don't want to get a sound clip, so I'm going to space it up a little bit. The Hex the Hex launch was like not the best, I'll say that, because okay, the first day there's a billion new coins. All right, sweet. Can you imagine if you bought a coin where the next day they add 33, like, or they increase the supply by 50%? That's the coin that people who bought day one bought. And then the next day there was another like what 30% added. Then it's like 25%, and then it's like 20%. And so it was hyperinflationary. And so if you didn't have that demand to keep up with this huge amount of coins coming out each day, it was like, okay, we're gonna dump until the year's over, I guess. Is kind of what it seemed like at the start. So, if you were smart, you averaged in over a few days, which Richard recommended. So I did do that, which was thankful. Didn't go all in day one or anything.
Yeah.
Put some in day one, but you're like, oof. And then you look back and you're like, oh, it was like 20,000 hex per ETH, and you're like, uh-oh, that was not the best.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? 20,000? It was
something
really
like
bad.
That.
It was like 50,000 X or something. Man, am I talking too much? It's the
no, dude, you're good. You're good. You just got me thinking. No, for sure.
Oh yeah, I was saying how our launch thing is so much better now. Just like the ETH ICO. Did you want to show that?
I did want to talk about that precisely.
Yeah.
Let's touch on
ours is just like that. Ours is just like that.
All right, here we go. Sacrifice phase. Let's go.
Now you have to tell people on the chart where people paid in the ICO, because it's actually below any close of any candle. 31 cents.
Where's that? Wow. It's like right here. Yep.
And look, I don't know if you saw my video. I think it was my last video, the 3-hour one. But the people who it launched at 10x price and then dumped 86%, which meant
you're still up 2x.
Well, yeah, even if you drop 86% from a 10x, these people were up like 35% or 40% if they did nothing. So And it makes sense, because imagine everyone equalized their entry point for some coin that they were in. So like Bitcoin, for example, if everybody in the world who has Bitcoin had their buy-in price at right now, I bet you'd find a bottom right there, because everyone who would sell at that point would be negative. And why would you lock in a loss and just hope that you can get like a lower price? Like, you have to agree to a loss on paper and hope other people sell way more than you so that you can get a better entry. But what's really going to happen is everyone else on the outskirts is like, oh, everyone is at this price. If it goes down, I buy it and I'm at a better position than everyone else. So it never happens, because who would allow that? Like, who would allow you to get a better position than everyone else?
Everyone
Not the
else,
whales in the
especially
system.
given, right? And we talked about this before the stream a little bit, how these whales want to protect the price they got in at, which was for the most part early in the sacrifice phase when a 10,000th of a dollar was the rate.
Right.
And like, why would you sell at a loss? And like you said, not only that, your only reasoning being, well, I'm expecting other people after me to sell at a loss as well, and just like
Yeah, it's
expecting
just
that
not going to
continued
happen.
irrational behavior.
And yeah, yeah.
Like, and then just I mean,
And
yeah.
and you can also just look in the past. How did ETH do it? They did it the same way. People got in at this price. The market decided, hey, it's worth 10x that. Then it was like, you know what? Maybe it's just worth 40% more than that. And that took like 3 months to get to. And then it just went up 50x after that.
It did.
So
50 cents all the way to like $15.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's 50x. That's what I remember. But
Okay. It depends on where you measure from, right?
50x from
40 cents.
31 cents maybe.
Here, let me get this. But yeah, I made a whole video on this back in the about 52x.
Nice.
Back in the day, where it was like, it described the whole ether sale, how people were only allowed to sacrifice BTC. If you remember that.
Yeah, I had it all pulled up. You can see the blog post by the Ethereum.org.
Right?
Yep.
He wrote it, and it was July or 14th or something. 2000.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about it in 2014, but they didn't get their coins till 2015, at least according to this chart.
Precisely. So they had to wait an entire year for their coins. Yeah,
we're very similar to that, but ours is in a way where it's not a security. So let's go. There
was oh man, I read this very interesting article not that long ago that was describing the S curve of the BTC sacrifices for the Ethereum sale, and how it looked too perfect. And so they claimed it might have been just people in the Ethereum Foundation themselves, like using a bot on a specific curve to make it appear as organic adoption, and how the initial ether supply is actually much more centralized than people think. It was just done undercover versus transparent, like the OA or something.
Oh, because they wanted to make it look like it was a public sale option as opposed to just giving it to. I mean, but they advertised it, so people were aware of it. You know.
Okay.
So
just things aren't as they seem. Potentially was what this article led me to believe, though I'm not claiming it's true or not. It's just a fun read.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's like, well, we know centralized supply ownership can lead to incredible price performance.
Yeah, but you're like, well, look what Ethereum did. It did a 16,000x. So who's complaining about the centralized ownership?
Exactly.
Well, it looks like it did well. If it went down to the ground after they did centralized ownership, maybe that's not so good.
And like this year, this is what we're trying to avoid by not launching prematurely. This was a DAO hack, right? I believe.
Oh, was it? I don't know.
I think so. And it was like a 50% dip, whereas that didn't happen. Let's see, $13. Well, it wicked down to like $6, so roughly 50%.
Dang. Must have been pretty liquid back then, because imagine something like that getting hacked. Because it's one of like the first of its kind of thing. Ethereum was. So they could have thought, man, this is the end. I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, you think it'd be like an 85% drop for that?
That's a good point. That is a pretty good withstandable, or whatever the word is. It withstood that drop pretty well.
Yeah, but didn't they like roll it back anyway or something?
That's when the fork happened. ETC.
Yeah, that's when the fork. Yeah. So I guess people thought that was fine. They were like, they fixed it. Thank God.
It's interesting to see though that like the moral high ground, so to speak, of not letting the hacker keep his money, that fork actually won in my eyes, Ethereum. Whereas Ethereum Classic, he gets to keep his money. The hacker, like, just price performance trash.
Yeah, isn't it? Because doesn't Vitalik think like code is law?
I mean, a lot of people think that, but yeah.
What's that chart you wanted to show everybody today, or is it too premature in the stream for that?
Let's see. Talked about the similarities here. I mean, we can talk about it. It's not even that. Like, I just want to see your reaction. Let's see. This is it. PulseX pools, kind of the scenario of what's going on.
Wow.
Where you have different paths, right? You can either we'll get into it, but there are certain pools
Can you make it bigger a little bit?
Of course. There are certain pools that I think are going to be really interesting to just like touch on individually, even, and just like each of the pools themselves is like a topic. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So it's
like what's going to happen there.
Right.
Yeah.
And obviously none of this is guaranteed. It's just kind of what I understood is maybe a best case scenario, so to speak, especially the green path, which includes an alleged buy and burn feature, right?
Alleged, yeah.
Alleged. So I mean, just
okay. So where do you start on this Graham?
Pretty much one of these three paths: green, white, or red, in the spirit of the PulseX logo.
Oh, okay.
So you can either just hold PulseX, that gives you the ability to vote, assuming the DAO is ready, right, on the pool's inflation rates or the pool's yield rates and the inflation rate of this. I'm calling this incentive token, this inflationary token, just I for now.
Oh, okay.
Just instead of calling it incentive token every time.
Okay. And what's the color scheme for what's blue and purple?
The pools? Yeah, they're just for any given pair, I think the purple ones are going to be the deepest pools.
Oh, okay.
And blue, like second deepest.
Second deepest. Okay.
And there's a organization to like, this is Hex as the top ticker, Pulse as the top ticker, and so on. And tactfully omitting some pools because they were either redundant the other direction or didn't make sense. Like backing, I'll get into it, but.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to go over your thing? I won't interrupt.
No, yeah, totally. So you can obviously swap, right? Or let's start with the green path. So you can hold PulseX, vote on the yield rates and the inflation rate of this incentive token I, maybe. And what do you get from that? Well, you get this from the volume. 0.06% of that alleged buy and burn fee will come back and give you. I don't want to say it like that. Will come back and complete the circuit.
You get to experience appreciation.
Potentially, right? On your PulseX, some sort of baseline demand that we were talking about before the stream, where even if there is no actual buying of the coin by users that aren't this,
the platform buys
address,
itself,
right?
Potentially, in a way.
Yeah, it's a cool little a little feedback loop. It's really cool.
Yeah, I like to think of it as like a, what is it? They call it stock buybacks. It's basically what I equated it to, where like if Amazon, like people, because I hear people say this. Sorry to interrupt with the diagram, but
all good, dude. I love the dynamic combo here.
Yeah, like people say, what can you do with PulseX? You know, you need Pulse to do transactions. What do you need PulseX for? And they're like, ha, got him. I'm like, okay, what do you use your Amazon stock for?
Yeah.
Buddy? What do you use it for? Oh, it goes up 32% every year?
Yeah.
On average? Huh. That seems like a pretty good feature. And also, if they ever have if they have extra basically cash reserves, they just buy their stock off the market, which pushes the price up, which means you experience appreciation in everything you hold. So the only way you can capture that is if you do sell your coins.
And guess what else those buybacks do? They further centralize the supply ownership to the ones who have the most incentive.
Sometimes they do remove the shares as well, though. They don't always keep them. Yeah. So it's almost like a real life buy and burn with the stock market. Yeah. Sometimes they do that. Sometimes they just think there's too many outstanding shares. And they'll like get them off the market and nix them.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, that's the whole utility meme, right? Like your coin needs to have utility. Well, when it really doesn't. like as much as the send and mine feature has given Bitcoin 6.9 million X. So
Yeah.
hey, how's that for utility beam?
And you don't need that much pulse to do transactions, you know.
You don't. I mean,
So
if you played with the
people saying
testnet,
that
it's amazing.
demand is like, all right, you need
Mhm.
$1 for like 100 transactions, probably.
Probably.
Dollars
I
worth.
hope it. And if it ever gets to a point where that's not the case, that's probably because price is appreciated
Well, you know
incredibly.
what? You know what's funny? I like self-owned myself when I did math on
Mhm.
this because I was like, you only need $1 a pulse, and I was like, well, if we onboard the world, that's 8 billion people. That's $8 billion. Darn it, that's $8 billion of buy pressure. It's still good.
Mhm.
So I was like, and that obviously onboarding the whole world. If you're at this stage, you're like a megalomon or something. Like I don't know what you would be, but
Yeah.
you would be way too rich at that point if everyone was onboarded, even at $1, if they got $1's worth. But
It
yeah,
would be like those
the goal is to onboard everybody.
those citadels that time travel that Bitcoin time travel describes. If you ever read that.
Wait, Bitcoin Time Traveler, is that a book or something?
It's just this internet meme where there was an article written by a dude who was like claiming certain Bitcoin prices would be hit, and then he went on to
Oh, I've
describe this
seen
like
those posts. Yeah.
doomsday citadel scenario where you have like Bitcoin rich people like owning this falling
Mm,
world, and but then his predictions were off a few years
right.
ago, and people stopped caring. They just forgot. But
Nice. He
uh,
kept it going for a while though.
I mean, yeah, it was fun for a while, but hey, um, but yeah, Pulse is gonna be
So
awesome, and it's
so
gonna have
swap. Yeah.
farms, and you'll be able to swap on PulseX, obviously. So yeah, the swap path is this white path, and you pay a fee, and you generate volume which goes to both of these, right? Either
Mhm,
to maybe buy and burn or to a actual guaranteed LP fee, right? And that's the
mhm.
red path is you can choose to provide liquidity. You get this nice LP fee from volume, and it
Plus
goes
I, don't
into
forget.
your
Yeah,
yield. There
you
you
got it right in
go.
there.
You see it? PRC20 plus
See,
I.
I'm very curious to see how
Boom.
that's gonna be. Like, how is the incentive token gonna be doled out into which pools? Like, my prediction
Mm.
is there may
Mhm.
be just this low base amount for lots of coins. I think it'll still not include certain ones because if it's just like scam coin versus scam coin, why do they get anything? And if they don't have a large community, we don't want them over here anyway.
Mhm.
Because I went over an example of how you can make basically a rogue pool and just like extract all this free pulse essentially.
Really? Mhm.
But I only showed that to be like, obviously it's going to be a whitelist, and my pool would never make it in to the bot being like choosing it as an extract option. Because
Mhm.
if it were, you could just, you still need a certain amount of ETH, but it's risk free. So basically, if you have 10,000 ETH, in this example, you can get a free 10 billion pulse, essentially,
Mhm.
which is only $1 million worth of sacrifice, but it's free. So they shouldn't be getting that, in my opinion. You only want to harvest pairs of coins that have large fan bases or
Mhm.
community, like a DeFi club or something, because you want to bring over all those users because they all talk amongst each other and they all have their own individual value to bring over. If you just do every coin, people can just make their own coin, pair it versus Ethereum, and then it gets harvested by the bot, and then they're the only one who owns the coin, so they can basically dump their free copied coins into that pulse and get all the pulse. Only they can.
Mhm.
What value did that bring? Zero.
So are you talking about rogue pools prior to the Ethereum fork to try to get free pulse, or are you
Yeah,
talking about rogue
yeah.
pools within PulseX
Um,
as
yeah,
well? Like,
before the fork,
before
because
the
what
fork?
happens
Okay,
is
okay.
it once, like if you did it in Uniswap,
Yeah.
that all of the PRC20, which is just you could put up, the way you do it is like if I make my own coin, K4K coin, and I make 10 billion K4K coin, has like no real value.
Yeah.
And I'm the only one who holds it.
And
And then
you
I have,
stick it in a pool with like an ETH in
yeah, any
Uniswap
amount of ETH
V2.
because you can get whatever amount for free. It just gives it to you for free over on PulseX. So you would just pair, and you only pair a little bit of it with, so you don't put like 10 billion in the pool. You just put like 10
Mhm.
or 10,000 of your 10 billion versus the 10,000 Ethereum, and that Ethereum is basically getting you technically 1.2 million exit, and that's what's going to be in the pool on PulseX.
Well, no, don't you only 1,000 exit?
No, you do it twice technically because you're you're dividing my token side by like 1095 and multiplying the other side by 1095, but then the bot mints another 1095x of the amount. So that's how you get the 1.2 million x, because you're
yeah, I see that, but I mean, like, the amount of pulse you're getting is only inflated by 1095x
the amount of
because
pulse
relative to the amount of ETH you put in the pool. So you put like what'd you say, 10,000 ETH, you'd be getting like
you get 10
billion. Yeah,
that's what the harvester bot would inject
10 billion pools
into the PulseX pool, which is where you would be able to trade freely. I have all this copied over of my 10 billion K4K coin to that pool, because
and get all the pools out of there. Yeah.
The pool in the Uniswap,
you need 10,000 ETH for that, though. That's a lot of ETH.
Well, you can maybe you get like 10 friends together, you add it all up, boom. And that's to get $1 million worth of free money. If you wanted only $10,000, maybe you only need a tenth of that, something like that.
Yeah,
so it's free money. But there's no risk.
Well, like, I don't think it'll harvest like every coin. I'm sure there will be a whitelist, like you said.
That was the point of it, to say it has to be a whitelist, otherwise someone does this.
100%, man.
Yeah, which is important to know. I think that it's going to be a hand selected like bot. It doesn't just go whoop. It works for every pool perfectly. It might.
Oh no, right.
It might. Someone said this in the chat. I was like, oh my, a smart chat response. This is great. Someone said they might go by contract date or whatever that it was created, so they won't harvest any coins that were created in the last 10 days or 90 days, something like that. And because then they wouldn't have to hand select, find everything.
Yeah.
I'm
sure there are like good automatic filters, and then probably once you get all through that, just a little bit of hand, like hard coding or hand selecting going on there.
For sure.
No, I think it'll be done correctly. I think they understand
I think we're in
these
good
attack
hands.
vectors.
Oh yeah, we're in good hands with these devs. Like they figure out everything.
For sure. But yeah, let's talk about some of these pools. This first row is the ones with Hex in the top, in the numerator, so to speak. So I've heard in an interview, I think it's the one Richard did with Kinetics, that really well produced one. I think they were might have been in Europe. I can't remember. But he mentioned this idea of how easy it would be to duplicate the Hex market onto a new chain with bridged-in stables. So if you look at the current liquidity of Hex right now, you see it's backed across Uniswap V2 and V3 by about 40. Last I checked this morning, about $48 million in stables, including that buy wall that was just created in the 1% fee pool on V3. And so you ask yourself, okay, to duplicate, so to speak, this market with that sort of value, what happens if an entity with $48 million decides to bridge that value over to Pulse and pair it with the same amount of Hex, native PRC20X, in that pool across maybe just PulseX, right? It doesn't distribute it across V2 and V3 over there. It'll just maybe just do it on PulseX.
Yeah, I mean,
what does that do to parity potential?
It makes it easier because still there's going to be these people trying to basically like arbitrage it constantly.
Potentially, sure. If they believe they should be the same price.
I think of it. Do you think it's similar to if the Hex price doubled in price instantly, which is basically if those scenario played out like that, you're basically doubling the Hex price, because technically you've created this much value over there, because you're saying, all right, this copy's created and it's backed up by the same amount of liquidity.
Precisely.
Everyone who had it before now has it over here. You have double. You're basically doubling everyone's coins.
Yeah.
In a way. So what happens after that is usually people take profit in a 2x. I don't think everyone goes, oh, 2x more holding. I won't sell at a 2x, but some people do. As we see people selling on a 10% pump, I think they'll sell on a 100% pump. Yeah. so
people do what people do.
It's almost like, would that cause both hexes to drop in value by half, and then you have the whole amount again? It won't probably be exactly like, we drop in half instantly back to this.
No, here's a fun fact. Here's a fun fact. If instead you deployed that 48 million, say USDC, to market buy on current pools, it would 4x the price.
Mm-hmm.
But if you bridge it and duplicate a market, weirdly enough, it's like an effective 2x. So if anything, you're like, maybe this is a counter argument. What if instead of cutting in half, what if it's like, no, I could have 4x over here. I don't know, man. It's just a lot of interesting things to think about there.
We'll have to see. You know what's interesting? I was thinking one day, and I was like, I
appreciate Valiant Brand real quick for the super chat. 369. Rocking it with a flex emoji, sunglasses, and heart. Says great stream, bros. Thank you, man. Great stream yesterday. That was fire.
I'm excited for Vegas. I hope we'll meet a bunch of people there.
Nice. But you were saying you had a thought.
Yeah. What was it about? Oh yeah. It was, how do you we have immutable code, okay? And you got a community, and you're like, okay, we have immutable code. What's that mean? It means no one can go in and change it. Okay. Well, what if something better comes out? What if things could be cheaper, but our code is locked? How do you move on? I think Richard has literally found the way to do that. It's through offering people the option basically to convert to the better system by only giving it to the people who already owned it before. On a new network, you're able to basically, I don't know if you can do it straight from like if we didn't have the new network, could you have a sacrifice type of thing for a coin that was just another ERC20? We'll say Pulse isn't involved. Like if a new upgraded Hex contract were to say come out, but it was only given to people who already hold Hex or sacrifice for it. Wait. If they get it for free, why would they sacrifice?
No, you're getting it. You're getting to an really interesting point. And
it's the way. Basically, there is a way. I haven't fully thought it out.
well, let me say what you made me think about real quick before it leaves. Just, I think this touches on the power of the composability of these things. Like even after a fork, like MetaMask, boom, one setting, you're good. You'd literally just click a button on PulseChain website. Probably they'll set it up to fill in the RPC settings and one button transition. This is weird. It's almost as if, let's say your current cellular service at AT&T starts just becoming bad, and Verizon comes in and is like, yo, you can upgrade like to us, and it's like a sacrifice, so to speak, different network, and you get to do that. Basically, it was a much more elegant thought in my brain. Hold on, I'm not fully thought out either.
No, there's one part I think it is true with the sacrifice.
Yeah,
I haven't worded it out perfectly yet. It's harder to do it on live, we'll say.
Yeah. Raw stream of consciousness, y'all.
But that is the way that you can kind of get people to pivot to an upgraded contract. Because if you ask people a year ago, hey, what if a better Hex came out? Would you buy it? They're like, Richard always said, there's the Hex contract. That's it. There is no Hex 2.
Yeah.
But then there's all these people who are like, I'm buying P-Hex. It's on a better network. It's faster. It's cheaper to do staking. Isn't that a better Hex? So, and how did that come about? It's by upgrading like the infrastructure around it and bringing everyone with. And so, and how do you, I guess, because there was no sacrifice for Pulse version of Hex.
Right. That's your point.
Network. That's kind of like the different thing. So
there is no contradiction.
It works for token to another token, but you can upgrade the infrastructure around it with a sacrifice, and that's how you upgrade people to the next best thing. Kinda.
Like you're getting to the point like someone can get free PRC20 Hex by just holding normal Hex, and they didn't have to sacrifice for Pulse at all because we're not talking about Pulse. So they get the free upgrade in that sense. It's like someone else coming along and being like, yo, you get this for free because we know your stuff sucks, even though you're not with our stuff. And if you want to get the upgrade, like the upsell, like you can give some value and we give you more stuff like the Pulse, which is kind of cool. Yo, this is good business logic. They're good at that stuff.
I gotta think that out more, and I'll probably make a video on it. I haven't thought about that in a few weeks. I thought about that when I was on vacation. I was like, "Whoa, this is good stuff." I had all these great ideas while I was on vacation, and I couldn't make videos. I was like, "Man, I gotta write all these down on my phone."
If you don't mind me asking, where'd you go?
I went to the Dominican Republic.
Oh, nice. Is that Central America?
It's like an island,
Yo.
apparently. Central America. I don't know.
Or South.
Who knows where I went, really?
Cool, man.
It's like near. It's near. What is it? I think it's part of an island that like Hades on, but like we're on like the safer side of it, I guess.
I need to look at a map for sure.
I
Though.
definitely need a map. Yeah, I don't know where I've been. I need Google Maps to go anywhere.
Dude, traveling is so refreshing. Like new place.
Yeah, it's fun. It was cool.
People,
you know, just seeing the people there. There was. It's like rough over there. Not gonna lie. The normal average person there isn't doing so great. It kind of feels bad vacationing there. Not gonna lie. But you know, it's cool walking through their streets and trying their food and stuff like that. Dude, the driving over there is crazy. The people we're riding in the car, someone will pass you on a like it's double yellow. Someone will pass you in a car going around that guy. Someone's passing that guy who's passing you on a two. You're like, wait, this guy's overtaking the guy overtaking us at the same time while oncoming traffic is coming. You're like, no. And nobody even like honks because they're like, yeah, this is normal. What? I was surprised we made it to where we were staying in one piece.
I'm grateful you did, bro. People are saying close to Cuba, Caribbean. You were off the coast of Florida, Haiti.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
No, it was cool though. Yeah, it was fun.
Fire.
It was my first. I guess technically, it was my first time as an adult being outside of the U.S. traveling. I went to like Mexico as like a 5-year-old or 6 or something. That was kind of fun. They had like the best water, and there was iguanas on the rocks. And I went like, and I caught one by the tail, and its tail detached, and I had this big wagon piece of meat. It was really weird. They're supposed to detach. Don't worry. It wasn't animal cruelty.
That's a bizarre experience.
But I was like only 6. That thing was as big as me. It was pretty cool.
That's you'll never forget that one.
You're supposed to be talking about PulseX, not the
let's talk about
iguanas.
So the this is gonna be a hard pivot.
Yeah, let's do that.
I talked about the Hex EUSDC pool, right? That's basically bridging in value, duplicating the market, so to speak. And you got this pool, the blue pool. The Hex EHEX pool is going to be bridged in Hex and maybe pairing it in equal amounts to the native PRC20 Hex. So if you thought this first example was a good parity pumpamental, I think we can coin that here.
Parity pumpamental.
Then the second one, pairing Hex and EHEX, bridge in ERC20 with native PRC20, could be a second parity pumpamental that you combine both of these things and you're like, okay, now it's maybe even more likely for this stuff to reach parity.
It's doubtful any other coins would even get that sort of treatment where someone would back up the value of the copied version and then also have like one-to-one liquidity set up. Because we're kind of assuming that some entity might do that for Hex EUSDC, right? So because I haven't like had any assumptions for like other coins. I don't know if other projects are going to do that.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I think if someone were to do that, that basically 2x's everyone else's bag. They've gotten double coins that are worth the same value. So whatever you had is double, but there's only so much liquidity too.
Right. Precisely.
So it's not like infinite. It's not like, oh, we can just sell it. Like if someone sells it's going to lower the price on that side. You
can do one or the other. It'd be like, as a company, maybe you don't want to incur that cost, but you have like a bunch of the ERC20, you get the PRC20, you're like, okay, we'll make a pool and back the value of what we got and earn yield. Maybe they don't have to inject liquidity. Maybe they leave that up to the users, right? You can do one without the other.
Yeah. What do you think about the PRC20 ERC20 pairs?
Oh, I'm so excited about them. It's basically like this. I'm particularly excited about this one, right? The Hex EHEX, because it's like a parity pumpamental. And what else was I going to say about it?
It would be I mean, it's not without risk, but if you were able to add liquidity while it was at 1-to-1, even if the ratio went crazy bad for a while and then eventually got back to 1-to-1, you technically just got free money on top of all that, because you would have been collecting fees the whole time and you wouldn't even gotten impermanent loss, because once it gets back to 1-to-1, it's equal again, which is what you put in at. And so you would just get the fees plus all the incentive token on top. But it's like, it's not a guarantee it will do that though. So it is risky, because who knows?
All LP is risky, providing liquidity.
Right. Yeah,
Because,
I get a lot
of
of
that
questions about
impermanent
that.
loss.
Yeah, they ask, what should I do with the liquidity farming? I'm like, it's not like a free ride type of deal.
Right.
It's risky. It's not like,
it's
what?
I was saying, the soccer player, football player, Michael Morton on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
He tweeted, he blew my mind back in the day, bro. He tweeted, like, look at the PulseX sacrifice. Majority of sacrificers are hex holders. And the crazy part is, even if you see some, stuff happen, like, majority of sacrificers are hex holders.
Yep, and they know how to hold for 15 years.
They know how to hold for 15 years. And if PulseX holders get DAO rights, voting rights, like, why wouldn't they incentivize hex pools really, really nicely with good yield? I love that. I love that thought. Blew my mind, and I still love that thought.
Yeah, they're the stewards of the system. But the thing is, like, they have to be responsible with it too. Because what if everyone who held PulseX was like also a hex holder? Not that that's a bad thing, but if they only incentivize that pool, well, then we kind of screwed ourselves, didn't we?
Right.
Because
I'm not saying
no
like
one else
only.
is gonna come over then.
No, of course you're gonna have like whatever percentage yield on Hex eHex on. We're just talking about the ones in our ecosystem here, but obviously this expands to like way more pools. They're gonna.
What we want is other ERC20s to come in as well, because that's technically, you don't need stablecoin to get USD value into the system. Is something I realized the other day. Like, if you get wrapped over any ERC20, that has value in USD, so you can extrapolate. This is however much liquidity there is, that's how real it is. Like, if I bring over $1 of USDC, technically I did give USD value to something, right? But there's only $1 of realness to it, of extractability of that.
It's a trippy thought. That's a really trippy thought.
So our most ideal goal is to get as much real USD value to our system as possible. And so we want to encourage as much ERC20s as possible. And the stable coins.
That's a soundbite right there.
Are you joking?
No, I'm serious.
Are you making jokes?
No, bro. Like what you just said, how you don't need necessarily to bridge in stable coins to get some USD value. You're basically saying, like, as long as there's a route,
anything from Ethereum,
as long as there's a route to USD, you're good.
Right.
Which,
like, if someone wraps over ETH, then you know how much ETH is worth, don't you? So then you know the value that's there in USD.
If it's interchangeable,
it's removable. Like, if you were to buy into wrapped Ethereum that's on PulseChain, you can purchase that up with your Pulse assets. It's a ratio to it. You buy it up, you can actually remove that from the Pulse ecosystem to Ethereum, sell it for dollars to the bank account. Boom.
There you go. Boom.
So that's your route. And you can do that with any coin, basically. So people think, or I was thinking for a while, it was stable coins how we get the dollar value, and I'm like, wait, it's literally everything over there. So that's why it's most important to get this stuff bridged in. Amazing.
Oh yeah, and the incentive is there with the yield token and the yield itself in the you would get PRC20, right? PRC20 yield. I'm just thinking of the yield, right? Because it's injected
the yield
in from the initial pools.
It's a PRC20, yeah. I mean,
right.
It's its own PRC20.
You also get yield in whatever whatchamacallit,
the fees are paid in.
Yes, thank you.
Yep. Yeah,
I actually asked this in your chat because it was like I was a little confused. I think I even accidentally said this in a video a while back, which was I thought the fees were in
ETH?
in PLS
itself.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh wait, no, just goes to show I'm not a yield farmer. But yeah.
Well, it might have seemed that way if you were probably researching and you were looking at an ETH pair and you're like, oh, this is an ETH, because it would have been an ETH. At least one half of the fees would have been.
There you go. Yeah. So is it really in just whatever the pair is? Am I correct? Yeah. Okay.
And that's why whenever that address is getting 24% of those feet, like the 0.07,
It's able to dump those for.
yeah. So it's parts of every other coin from ETH to PulseChain. It's selling these little parts of every other coin and only buying PulseX, or maybe it has other favorite coins it likes to spend money on. You never know. You know, that's a lot of, based on the volume, that's going to be a lot of buy pressure. And where do we get it? From other coins that we're selling down. It's like,
it's like a
we're
little.
selling the rest of crypto to pump our bag.
Well, I mean, it's fair though. It's like a slight tax on the rest of these coins for their ability to interchange on this liquidity farming, most liquid DEX on all of PulseChain, right?
Well, it's similar. It's not like it's just like this super crazy added tax. It's
Right,
like
it's tiny.
it is a little, like a little thing. But if you think about it, LPs and other systems, they are earning it in those, like their fees in those coins normally. And what do they do with their yield usually? They
You
sell it
sell it
anyway.
down, yeah.
It's just this is being sold only for one coin. And so it's not added sell pressure to them. It's like the same amount, but it just only goes to this new thing as opposed to being anything else. You know, like they could have sold their yield in this random coin that they got. They could have bought Doge, but now they're buying PulseX. A portion of it is only allowed to be, or well, the address can buy anything at once. But say it buys PulseX, then technically it was forced to buy that and not into anything else. So yeah, let's go. Oh, it's crazy. If you've ever run the numbers on what 24%, like I'm pretty sure LPs and Uniswap have made like over $1 billion in the year, something like that.
That's
In
good.
fees. I should probably have like a more exact figure, but
Good for them, but obviously not the payers and fees.
Yeah, it's really crazy how
ridiculous.
much they've made. There's a lot of money to be made in these markets.
Oh yeah. So let's see. We talked about these hex pools, right? For parity, it'll be interesting to see if we get the deepest pool for Pulse be something like Pulse bridged in USDC, because of that, just the same style where we see hex
Like
perform
Hex
really
is?
well. Where it's like,
sure.
okay, you just main liquidity pair it with stable. It lives and dies by only trading between itself.
Well, you see, there's this issue with Pulse. I was thinking.
Quick shout out. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Let me get to your thought. But quick shout out to Jay-Z Hex King for the 55 super chat. Thank you. She says, shh, listen up, Hexkins. Genius game theory is being unwrapped right here on this stream. See you guys in Vegas. Hashtag 5555 for maximum yield. 4 exclamation marks. Nice.
She's hyped.
She is hyped and very generous. Appreciate it. Jay-Z Hex King.
Nice.
Go ahead.
So I was, you know how lower liquidity is easier to move. You need less dollars, less value, right? So I was like, you know, I'm PulseX bull. And people are saying Pulse is going to do better. Of course, I'm like, well, I got to prove them wrong. So I'm just thinking of ways that PulseX might have an advantage. And I was like, you know, PulseX, I want to see how much, because PulseX doesn't have to have tons of liquidity. Like it can have any amount. It's just basically who's gonna put it up. It's not like Pulse, which has to immediately be tied to literally every coin, if you think about it. Because ETH is tied to every single coin. Pulse is tied to every single coin and has significant liquidity at launch. So what does significant liquidity mean? It means less slippage, which means less price up versus PulseX. And I did the math. There's like, it's a range, I'll say, between 1.4 trillion Pulse to 3.2 trillion Pulse is going to be in those liquidity pools owned by that AMM. If you do the math on that value multiplied by 1/10,000th of a dollar, that is, do I have it over here?
Like 500 million?
I think it's $120 million. So you would need $120 million to quadruple the price of Pulse versus PulseX, which could have way lower liquidity because it's not tied to everything from the start. And if you look at any of these other inflationary coins, like Pancake and stuff, they don't tie, even though those are inflationary, they don't tie it to every single coin. That's usually tied to like a stable coin or two, and then the main native token. That's it. So there's no need to have 120 million liquidity there in PulseX. So it's going to be really easy to move, and it has an extra buyer on the market who comes in and buys it up all the time.
That's a good
So
point. Yeah.
good luck beating that. PulseChain.
It's up to whatever. It's up to whatever actors, right, decide to come in, create the first liquidity pool for PulseX, PLS, PulseX, Bridge, and USDC and whatnot, and actually start pumping in liquidity. It's up to the community if they want to do that.
Yeah.
But you and I both know that lower liquidity at launch is probably good. Good for price.
I'm hoping there almost isn't even an incentive for providing liquidity for PulseX pairs. Why would you want huge liquidity there?
Interesting.
You want those automatic buys? Automatic. They're not automatic, but
that's a great point.
You want any buys to come in to push the price up a lot, not less.
That's a great point. You hear that, PulseX holders with voting rights?
No, we don't want to incentivize our
pairs. These, I'm gonna paint these all in red. It's like these are no. Do
because
not.
Also, who would want to provide liquidity so early in something? Because imagine you provide liquidity.
It's a great thought.
You know, and then like this information isn't like the grandiose story you want to tell everyone. It's more like for the people who want to do well, I guess. I mean, I don't know, but if you provide liquidity, like say you do ETH versus USDC or something when ETH was $100, and then at 40x's, if you provide liquidity whenever it was $100, well, you didn't experience a 40x because you sold all of your Ethereum on the way up during the 40x. You get like barely any of those gains because you have to maintain that ratio that $100 equals $100 worth of ETH during that whole run up. And so it's like, oh, we're higher, sell it. And you end up with like 0.001 ETH and maybe like 100 some plus some fees and dollars worth of USDC. You would experience almost none of those gains. And if you think PulseX or Pulse is going to do a 40, 50, 100x, do you want a private liquidity when it's really cheap at the base level? Not me.
Right. Oh, you're basically. Oh, I see what you're saying. That if it's going to do a price run up and you're an early LP, the impermanent loss is going to be nuts.
Yeah, you would want to hold the coin. That's
versus LP it. Yeah.
Especially instead of splitting it up into something like a stable coin, that means you're holding half of the coin you could have been holding.
And this is common. It's like I feel bad for LPs almost. Like the first liquidity provider of any coin usually gets wrecked, like annihilated.
Hey, maybe they think the price will fluctuate there for a while. It
has to be a benevolent actor who knows they might get wrecked if price runs up, or I guess
it's not risk-free. You know,
it's not. But you actually did see Uniswap remedy that with their airdrop. I think they gave LPs much more of the Uni token because they're like, you guys usually get the short end of the stick. So for this one time, like LPs actually got the long end of the stick. It's pretty cool.
It's scary to LP in a good crypto versus like a USDC type pair because you're gonna most times you do better just holding the coin. So now it's a little different. Is it different for the like the ERC20 PRC20 pairs? Those are interesting. I don't know. It really depends if you think it's going to reach parity. I feel, man, that'd be so cool if it does. Like, that'd be crazy.
That's the thing, though. Like, look at the range Hex has been in the last few months. As low as 12 cents, as high as 56 cents. That's a 4x. No, it's like almost a 5x range. So, like, this whole can we reach parity and see a 2x? I mean, like, yeah. Like, it's not too much to ask for within these crazy ranges that we've seen. That's just my opinion, right? Like, there's that buffer room for we've seen that kind of value fluctuation. It's normal in crypto.
Yeah,
it's like a 2x is nothing.
I'm trying to think how, like, mechanically, because like say someone starts the pool of Hex EHEX. Okay, now there can't be another. No one else can create another Hex EHEX pair. It's like that for everything. Like if someone already created that pair, in Uniswap v3, you can actually have other pairs with the same name because you can change the fee rate, so it's technically a different
Right.
pool, but you can't do that in ours at all. It's like
Okay.
this is created, it's V2,
Yeah.
that's the only pool. Because it'd be silly to let people split up all the liquidity amongst multiple pools of the same exact thing, and then you have to pay multiple fees to get into those pools. It'd be terrible.
Yeah.
So they force people to go and join the same one or trade into the same one.
Mm-hmm.
Now that one has that's Uniswap V3.
V3 because it has the different percent fee pools, and then V2, like you said, doesn't have repeats.
Yeah. So once say the hex, like the ratio is created, hex versus ehex.
Right here.
And someone starts it at 1-to-1.
Yeah.
I was thinking that ratio can change pretty fast, and you can only add liquidity at what it is currently when you're there. Like you can't say, oh, it's this ratio, I'm going to do 1-to-1 though. You can't do that. You can only
of course
at
not.
the ratio
Right.
It's available at. Like
so if you want to
be liquidity
mitigate
at all these different steps along the way. I think I hit my mic. So there's like liquidity, like it depends how big the liquidity is.
Yes.
That's how hard it is to move it.
Yes.
So if someone had not infinite, but a very, very large amount, they could technically peg the value instantly if they wanted like a billion on this side, billion on that. Oh, good luck moving it, plebs. Then it's. But that person is at risk because now you've given everyone a infinite pool.
Well, they're at risk. Wouldn't they mitigate the risk because they're LPing and their main risk is impermanent loss? Yet if they provide a huge size pool that gets reduced.
Okay, let's think about this.
Yeah, think about this. Do we know any actors that have potentially a lot of hex who will get all this hex forked over with them at the fork, who has the incentive to pair, I don't know, let's just have some fun here, 100 billion hex with 100 billion PRC20 hex, pair them, obviously after bridging.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
Who can move that kind of a pool?
Nobody.
Who has a billion, 10 billion hex to move that pool even 20%?
I mean, I'm just curious what would be that, because you're right. I didn't think about the fact that they're
getting all their coins.
So they
have both.
Yeah.
Just a thought, right? Just a thought.
Because I have thought about that. Yeah, if the OA ever wanted to make it impossible to change the ratio, they can do that. And then they guarantee everyone gets double their coin value. Not just their coins, but their value too. So it's like, do they want to do that? I don't know. I have to think about it more.
Definitely. And you obviously want to ask yourself, like, do you want to make it an infinite pool to where like it can never move, or do you want to provide a little bit of leeway for, I guess, our
because like no other project can do that basically. So it would really stand out, and I'm not sure if it wants that much attention on itself.
All right, that's an interesting point.
So I don't know. There would be.
We're just speculating here.
It's a possibility. It's just, does it make sense for someone to do that?
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, everyone would be like, woohoo, double value. Everyone would be happy, but just because it makes everyone happy doesn't mean it's the best play.
No, totally.
In a long run type scenario.
No, I know, but like, what's the risk for that actor? Truly unwanted attention, I guess.
Yeah, that's one thing. I don't know. That's good. This is a good.
Right?
I'm gonna write this down.
So we got those pools. Then you, like you said, PLSX pools you may not want to incentivize from the get-go. Keep it a low liquidity, let it do its thing. It'll be interesting what pools are paired with the incentive token.
Well, definitely incentive token is going to be in one of those.
Right, whether bridged in.
That's how all those other pools went. Like the incentive token pool, because people are like, well, who would buy the incentive token? It just it inflates. You're like, well, Bitcoin inflates.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, how's that gonna work? So
that's a great point. That's a great point.
And so does Ethereum, and they went up multiple thousands of X, millions of X even. And they have the same model where they diminish over time, and that's how this is supposed to be, purportedly or whatever. But how these other farms went were they had all the, it'd be like Link and Ethereum, that would be a pool, and you would get some of the incentive token, like literally you just on top of all your fees and everything. And it wasn't even based on how much fees were in it. It was per block. Like it didn't care. It was basically you versus everyone else in the pool and your percentage. So if you were 100% of the pool, no matter what dollar amount you put in, like you could put in $1 of liquidity. If you were the only guy in that pool, you were getting incentive tokens, same amount as if you put in $100 million. Every block, you're getting, say it was 10 per block, boom, 10 per block. And then if another guy came in, say he puts in $10 and you had 1, well, now he's getting 90% and you're getting like 1 or 10%, something like that. And then so that's how those rewards come out over time. Well, what would happen is there's a highly incentivized pool that involves the reward token itself. And if you wanted to get into that, well, guess what? You need the reward token to get into that highly incentivized one, and even though it's incentivized with itself. But people understand that you can actually get value in that.
Yeah,
Hex does
look at
that.
Hex.
Yeah, because Hex does that. But back in the day, people were like, "This is so scammy because you're just getting more of this coin. How does this work?" And it would just keep working. And people were like, "Oh, it's just working though." So if it works, don't, it's working. So don't mess with it. It's a working formula. It's just like, hey, this worked over here. We're going to do it again. And people were like, no, how's it going to work? They just don't know history. They just don't know. So that's how there's going to be that pool. Oh, go ahead.
This comment says, there's that K4K laugh that keeps me up at night, pacing, counting the many ways of gains coming my way. Love it.
What? Have I been laughing?
Probably, yeah. No, it's good. We'll have to watch more than once. Nice. It says, no, not true, guys. The first dudes who LP get massive rewards. Yeah, I might be completely wrong. Please enlighten me. I don't want to say incorrect info.
Well, yeah, you get rewards in the token, but you get wrecked in impermanent loss.
Impermanent loss, right? That's what we're talking about.
So if it outpaces that, then you've won.
It says stop fighting impermanent loss. It's not that bad. Well, it can be impermanent, right? To your point, like, yeah, if price comes back to the ratio you look
I
at,
said that early on too.
Yeah, there's ways to make money and make profit, definitely.
Imagine saying I'm fudding impermanent loss.
Lol.
It's like he's saying it's a good thing. He's taking the side that it's
true.
Good. Impermanent loss is good, dude. I'm like,
He should have said stop fudding LPing, right?
Yeah, that's
I'll get it.
I could argue that's true.
Just dunking on you, Lemon Ortega. We love you. You know that.
I can't wait for someone to LP and outperform just holding the coins. If that happens, I'll be like, that incentive token must have crushed it. Or if you have so much confidence that it's going to go back up to the ratio that you get in at and you only just made gains on what you put in, then you've won. That's if you've done it correctly. Most people don't do things correctly. So if it pans out, good for you. It's not a free ride.
Hex is the way says I will have a video on LP providing soon. Nice. That'll be cool. Yeah, we don't have that in the community, I don't think. Excuse me if you hear noise in the background. Got some dude working on some stuff.
Oh, did he arrive already?
I think so, yeah. So if you hear a sudden just like
oh, what's he working on? Didn't you get into a new place or something?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's really nice. Just
you don't have your lights set up in the background anymore. I just realized.
It
used to have like that glowing light.
It is.
Oh, it's not on.
Here, hold on. Can you see now?
Oh, I can see it.
Yeah, just had to move the camera a little bit. I got a whiteboard in the way.
Do you use it?
Good. The whiteboard, of course.
Yeah, I have a whiteboard, but I don't have like a good eraser, so it's more annoying to try and erase it than that it's worth. I need to get like a good either. I don't know if the markers are bad, the whiteboard's bad, or if
there's this great little magnetic eraser I got that just like sticks on the whiteboard and chills,
and it like erases it well, even if you leave it on overnight.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just have cheap stuff.
Your classic expo markers. Hey, I mean.
Okay.
It's a great stream, guys. Thank you. Someone says I'm flexing, Hex flexing with a new pad. Nice.
All right. Hex is awesome.
Hex fucking rocks. Okay, so let's see. We talked about a lot of these pools. I kind of wanted to talk about the Plsx Pulse pool because I thought it might be interesting if we saw that one be deep and PulseX be kind of a leverage derivative play on Pulse.
It is true, like they all kind of like they do pull each other up based on their liquidity because of Hart's law.
Precisely.
You know how much it affects them still. Interesting.
So like you'd want to pair coins that are kind of uncertain in what they're gonna do with coins that are more certain in a way. Like I don't know, you see a lot of that with in ETH, right? You see the altcoin ETH pairs be the ones that are talked
yeah,
about.
it's like every coin, yeah.
So it's like, all right, it's
yeah, I
PulseX
mean,
Pulse might be an interesting pair to look at.
there will definitely be, because I think everything wants to tie to Pulse, because some
Yes.
people want to exit into Pulse, so you want that pair, because if you don't have like a direct pair to the thing you really want, then you have to make a double trade fee. And I double checked this on SushiSwap because they're V2. I didn't realize this as well. It was interesting. So you know how everything that's Ethereum tied to an altcoin, that means Pulse and all those altcoins are tied at the start from that AMM bot creating all those pools the same way. So it's tied to everything. If you want to go from your free coin to, let's say, USDC, a new coin that comes in, and then that's likely to be paired directly with Pulse only, probably not up to every single coin from the get-go, and it's going to go through the most liquidity, you're basically going to have to do a double trade fee for everything to get to a stable coin. Because what it does is you have your coin, it has to trade for Pulse with its own self, then it trades the Pulse for the stable coin. That's 2 transactions.
Right.
But it does it all in one. But it's double, so you would pay 0.58%.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I didn't think about that.
But I don't think it's like an extra pumpamental or anything, because that's already, like, if we're calculating the current projections based on what Uniswap, how much volume they're having and stuff. That's also true for what they've already had. It's not like it's extra, in my opinion. Just I didn't realize it worked like that right away.
It's not
I
extra.
thought that was only in V1, but
it's not extra when making the analogy to Uniswap, but it is extra for anyone who had framed it as like, oh, only like the direct pairs when you actually have to like hop through a router or whatever.
Yeah, I am still learning about the routing and how all that works, but it does actually. I thought V1 was like that, where you had to pay the fee multiple times to go through the jumps, and it was like that. But you also
everything only routed through ETH in V1, I think.
Yeah, but in V2 you still have to pay the transaction fee twice. I thought it like somehow did some magic where it didn't have to trade a second time, and it just did it. And that's just not the case. It does actually trade it. It's an extra trade in the system, in the route.
Really interesting.
Yeah, that's how it does the double trade fee, because how else will you get to that without making a trade into those pools? It just has to be the case. And I did it on you get a SushiSwap and you do any trade. It has to be one that doesn't have a direct pair, otherwise it's just one trade. So I made sure to find one that only has a pairing with Ethereum directly and doesn't have it. Like, I think I did SHIB, because SHIB only has it to ETH and doesn't have a USDC pair, I think. And so I did that, and then to get to USDC, it was a double trade, and it shows you the route, and it's like you will pay 0.58 or point. It would be, well, their trading is 0.3, I think, so it was like 0.6.
Well, that's because you hand selected one that didn't have a SHIB USDC pool. But if someone can create that pool, and I think it would be a direct.
Yeah, but you'd have to have a lot of liquidity there too to also make it worth it. Because if there's barely any liquidity, it'll still route through the double trade if the overall, net is better.
I'm pretty sure V1 you just weren't allowed to create ERC20 pool, but I think V2 does allow it. That might be the case.
So that is what
whether they exist or not is the difference. Might be. Yeah. No, for sure though. But I just learned that routing is not even done on chain, and that kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, I'm like, who's doing the routing then?
Right.
Some server that just you hope it's doing the right thing, not screwing you.
I mean,
that's weird
because we obviously know that the buy and burn function, like that was the bottleneck. Like it wasn't able to be automated because routing is done off chain, and therefore someone could could create like you were saying, malicious
right, and
pairs, route through them, and just earn fees on like shit coins, basically.
it did seem like the most exploitable thing ever when I first heard of it, even though I was excited because I do hear something in the back.
I'm gonna mute real quick.
Okay, because it did sound like it would be exploitable because you're like, okay, it's basically programmed in guaranteed buying. Someone can come in and basically sandwich attack that and buy it up before it buys, then sell it down after it buys, and like captures that every time. And I was like, I wonder if they have this figured out.
Yeah.
And then it eventually came out that, oh, well, we can't do it for this reason and this reason and this reason. Oh well.
Yeah. And like I was even thinking like, well, what if like I thought Uniswap V1 being just routing through ETH, like that could be on chain at least, right? Nope, still off chain. Like what?
Yeah, that is. I had the same thought, and then yeah, it turns out that doesn't work either.
So you can't. It has to be just non-automated, unfortunately. But hey, it is what it is, right?
I try to look at the benefits of what we have to work with because you can only do what's possible.
Precisely, yeah.
And we can't just like wait forever like ETH 2.0. Like they're just like, oh, we're gonna wait for the perfect thing.
Yeah, you iterate, right? Like you
eventually it might be possible. Then we'll do it.
Do your best. You keep building community, and they see that you're doing your best and transparent. And as things get better, you show them you do the better thing. You just keep going. You're already outpacing everyone because you acted versus just waiting forever.
Richard and his team, they get stuff done. Like you see the updates in testnet. You're like, okay, every couple of weeks we have a brand new thing they're trying out in testnet. It's not just like nothing's happening. You know.
Have you played with it yet?
Yeah, I've been on it. Used the faucet. I haven't actually tried since the Uniswap front end came out. I haven't tried it yet. I'm probably gonna wait for V3 of it to come out, where they're testing the AMM bot, and you can go in, and I'll probably just do that. I mean, it's not that the V3 or not that it's not any different from Uniswap, so it's not like it's gonna be like, whoa, what's different? Maybe they'll have a different what's it called? Like they might have their own logo and design on their website. Maybe it'll be cool to look at, but other than that,
I think it'll be cool to look at. So let's see. Yeah, go ahead.
It's like all the same code as Uniswap V2. That's literally it. It's just that Uniswap currently doesn't have that fee activated that lets an address receive a certain amount of the fees. They're just activating that part, which has already been audited, and they're just deciding to use it.
So good, dude. So good.
It's like we're using stuff that they created before they're using it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's like, oh my gosh, thanks guys, and it's already audited like super heavily. So really, there's no people were saying, oh, PulseX doesn't have an audit. It's like, do you even understand what it is? Dude,
I know.
Like some people say stuff without thinking on Twitter. I know that's crazy.
Oh yeah.
But oh well, you know. That's fine. I don't like when people lead other people astray. But I'm sure I've done it by accident. And it's not always on. No one does it on purpose. I hope. Yeah.
No. Yeah. man, that was a tangent. Wait, I feel like there was some juicy stuff we were getting at not that long ago.
About like what PulseX and Pulse?
AMM bot. So I wanted to see. Let's see the AMM bot. We still need to do that, right? That needs to be done.
Yes.
Or it needs to be created, I guess I'd say. It should be written, tested, and then
sacrifice numbers,
balances. Actually get the PulseX front end up would be cool. I'm wondering if we're going to see that on PulseChain testnet V3. Right. That's what I'm thinking.
We have to because the bot, part of its job is putting the liquidity pools in. So you'd hate for it to just be holding all the stuff and it doesn't create the pools. And you're like,
precisely. It needs to put it in.
They only tested it that far. It's not.
Would you also see sacrifice balances for PulseX on V3? PLSX, most likely.
Yeah, they
you want that.
Yeah.
So you're saying they won't launch V3 testnet until like everything's ready?
Let me see. They're working. Yeah, they definitely need to. The AMM bot is not gonna. That's gonna take a bit of time, in my opinion.
Really?
And I'd like to know if there's any plans for the like those three main usages of WETH, which is Compound Maker and Aave.
Mm.
I'm curious if, because in Richard's initial predictions of how much the AMM bot would have to print,
I see.
it said 2.5%, but that's not how much is indexes. So where is he getting this number?
Oh, it's from if you look at I didn't know to your point, but if you go on Etherscan and look at the wrapped ETH contract,
Yeah,
it has about 6 or 7% of all Ethereum inside of it.
it has like 7 million in it.
Right.
7
7
million,
million ETH.
which is only like 4.2%.
Oh, really? 7 over 112, whatever that is.
Yeah, I have it written over here, I think.
Or how
Yeah,
many ETH exist? 120 mil?
There's 119 million.
Okay, so 7 over 1. Can't do math right now.
Can you do it? Can you do it?
It's like 5.7% or something.
Maybe. But basically,
Square root of that 2.5%.
What's actually indexes, which is what we know how the bot buys that up at 1.2 million X is what's there.
Yeah.
Basically. And it does it in like a roundabout way because because you're right, it does 1095 it.
Yeah.
And divides the other side, and that's how much it removes, and then it owns that. But then what it has is basically all of that PRC20, and then to fit, but then it has to create pulse at the same ratio to what was left in the pool versus the pulse in that pool after at 1.2 million X.
You're talking about like a recursive
10,095 X actually.
Like a recursive thing, or
let me see here.
Almost like, once it actually injects, or once it actually harvests, well then at that point you're.
Well, let's see. If you have 10,000, let's just do a million X. If you have 10,000 on either side, and you divide one side, the PRC20 side, you divide that by 1,000, you got 10 left on that side, and so the bot has 9,990
precisely
of the PRC20, 9,990, and then on the other side you multiply that. We'll say it was 10,000 ETH. So it was 10,000 ETH, and if you multiply that by 1,000, what's 1,000 times 10,000? I don't want to get
10 million.
Is it just 10 million? So then that means, okay, I'm gonna write 10 million. This is just so I can visualize it. So what's left in the pool is 10 million pulse. This is in the Uniswap pool after it's been extracted from. So you have 10 million pulse versus 10 of those coins.
Right.
And then what the bot does is it figures out how many times does it turns out to be that you have to multiply the 10 million by another 1095, or this would just be 1,000 in this case because we're doing it by 1,000, in order for it to make enough more pulse to pair with 9,990. Does that make sense? Wait, let me show you. There's like this one step, and as soon as you get it, it's like, okay, gotcha. Because right now the ratio in the Uniswap pool is 10 to 10 million. And so you keep that ratio whenever you print more pulse to pair with the 9,990. You see that? So 10 million basically, let me see here. And then let's see.
I'm trying to follow. It's a little tricky. So what's like the
ending pool
thesis here? Kind of like what are we getting at? What's the kind of like the punchline, I guess?
What were we talking about?
It's like you're talking about the AMM bot ratios, how like it has to. Oh, we're talking about percentage amounts. Yeah, that's where we were.
Percentage.
Like how much pulse. And you were saying how that 2.5% doesn't make sense. I wanted to touch on the Aave and the Maker, how they're using a lot of that wrapped ether.
Yeah. Well, if you check DeFi Pulse, they show you how much is actually in dexes. So between all of the major dexes, so SushiSwap, Bancor, Balancer, Uniswap, there's only 1.07% of ETH supply in the DEX. So that means we only have that amount basically in our DEX at the start.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see what you're saying. Uniswap only has like 8%, you're saying. Or 8 billion, and then you have like Aave with 11 billion.
Well,
Maker with
here, are you
17
on DeFi
billion.
Pulse?
Yes, yeah.
Click on DEXs at the top left.
Top left.
Down a little bit.
All right, here. I don't want
Yeah,
people
there
to
we
see
go.
those ads.
And then
All right,
Curve
guys.
doesn't count. They don't have any ETH in there anymore. So if you click on Uniswap,
Mm-hmm.
it'll show you how much ETH is locked in there on the left. Supply
2.7
locked
million ETH.
0.59%. And it says ETH locked 704K ETH. And if you go to see how it says TVL USD? If you click on ETH there, that's how much ETH is in there. And then you can go up to all time if you want. There we go.
Interesting.
See how it's trending down.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that you see that huge wick of like 4 million ETH almost in there,
Yeah.
which is actually pretty crazy,
That
that
is
was during
crazy.
the Uniswap farming.
Ah.
For whenever people could get, it was basically a liquidity farming event where people could get uni for being in these 4 different pairs.
Yeah.
Like the ETH USDC, ETH DAI, ETH WBTC. And so that's why there was like this huge uptick, and then it just drops off like a bag of bricks because people are like, well, I'm not getting this extra benefit anymore. So nope. I'm not sure what that little blip was later, but yeah, I added up all of the dexes and it's only 1.07%. So
How
I think
much?
there's going to be less. 1.07 of ETH supply.
Oh wow, is indexes?
Indexes. And those are the ones that the bot can interact with and create more pulse for. I don't know what it's doing for, because he was going off of WETH, but
Right.
how is he affecting the amount of pulse in Aave and Maker? Good luck.
Yeah.
It's not an AMM,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know.
That's a great point. I mean, someone should bring it up
And
to
that's where
him and his team.
the vast majority of WETH is.
Okay.
Like 80% of it.
Okay. Interesting.
So all those millions of ETH in there, they're in those things, which the bot isn't interacting with, as far as I know. So I don't know. Maybe Richard, they probably already have it figured out, but they just don't talk about it. That's my guess.
Interesting. Maybe. Who knows? Like they're still working on other stuff. Maybe it might. I hope they're thinking about this stuff though. It's a really good point that should probably be brought up. Like the actual amount of ETH in AMMs, not just in WETH. It's not like a perfect metric to describe that. It's not a good proxy, I guess you could say.
Because I only know how the bot will mint more pulse based on the dexes, and if that's all there is in dexes, you can figure out how much is going to be in PulseChain at the launch, like in the PulseX dex. And that's where I got like the 1.2 to 1.4 trillion supply in there.
I see.
Which
and you
is
use
much
the 1% figure there?
Yeah, the 1.07.
Okay. Oh, okay. Very cool.
But yeah, it's pretty cool because you can figure out kind of, and if we know that nobody's going to sell basically for less than a 10,000th of a dollar, you can extrapolate USD value of all that pulse, and then what it's paired against technically gets that value. So those people can actually extract some value by selling into Pulse their free coins. So I think that all that pulse out there of the supply will shrink very quickly as it's removed from the pools, from people selling their free airdrop coins. So they will have value to get. Who knows if they'll just completely leave the chain with it? But either way, they're going to be removing it from the pools, and it'll move to stronger hands eventually.
Right, right.
But I do think PulseX has that advantage where it doesn't need all that liquidity.
Yeah.
Like Pulse does.
No, that's such an interesting thought. I see why you're a PulseX bull now.
Oh man, I hope Richard's not watching.
No, what do you mean? PulseX is one of his brainchild, so it's all love.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like not excited for Pulse. I sacrifice for Pulse too. Pulse is amazing.
Right, same.
It's what makes all this like amazing.
It's like
you want to be on this network.
Oh yeah, and he's making it the best possible. That's why we waited all this time. If it weren't for PulseX, we'd probably be live right now.
Yeah.
Like everything else that's needing to be done is basically PulseX stuff. If you
Yeah.
notice, like
I think because originally, how he didn't really talk about the AMM much until it was
Mhm.
getting closer to, hey, this thing might launch soon. And then it was
Right.
like, wait, it's actually really important to encourage people to bring USD value over so that people have a way to real money.
Mhm.
Because without that, you're just kind of just trading the stuff that you would need. You'd kind of be at the whims of the centralized exchanges. That would be the only way to get to dollars
Right.
without having your own way to encourage lots of bridged-in liquidity. So I think he didn't want to be beholden to that. And then people were like,
Mhm.
when Binance?
Yeah.
And now he can be like, why aren't you encouraging people to bridge in liquidity? So,
Right. That's a great
so
point. Like you want to make it the best possible, it create the right incentive
Mhm.
structures for this
and
thing
it's
to
in it,
work.
yeah. And it's in that decentralized way.
Mhm.
So like people are, and they're winning. They're like getting onto the better network and
Yeah.
they're making money doing it. And they don't have to AML, KYC to get to this stuff.
Yeah.
That's
No,
amazing.
you're
I love
right.
that.
Same. This is what crypto should be, right? Like that's always been his goal. Like, yo, he came into crypto like stuff kind of
Mhm.
sucks. Let's make it better.
I love that he's actually like, improving the stuff. One of the best lines I think I've heard him say is, all these other people are talking about crypto and I'm building it.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, yeah, okay, it's true. Not only does he know more talking wise than most people about crypto, he's also just building it and better than other people. Who else is telling you all these truths and building crypto and giving out to people in a way that they don't have to KYC out the butt to get to? Nobody.
Legend, man.
Legendary. Is there anything else you want to touch on?
Man, this has been a dense one. No, it's probably been one of the best. This will go nuts. We broke the internet, bro.
I hope
How do you
not.
feel about that?
I thought that
No,
was like
man.
Wreck-It Ralph. He broke the internet. I haven't watched that movie. I heard it was like, it's kind of deep or something, that movie.
Somehow, like
I
just
haven't seen it. But,
situationally, I've seen it twice, just situationally.
oh
But
yeah, just like,
it's pretty fun.
yeah, I was talked to about it. It was one girl was telling me about it, and I was like, no way, it's that good. You made it sound really good, the way she described it. But
It's trippy. Anything that gives you that simulation kind of narrative or like Inception, Matrix, just always trippy to me.
yeah, I should
But yeah,
probably watch
man.
that some night soon.
Anything else you want to bring up? This has been quite the dense stream. We can call it
Yeah.
whenever you're ready, or we could keep going for another hour and a half. Your call.
I mean, I'm cool.
Cool.
Let me see if there's anything on this paper worth talking about.
For sure, for sure.
Unless you're saying you'd like to end the stream.
No, not necessarily. Like I could keep going. Yeah, I'm gonna look at my notes as well.
And I'd love to like share some of my notes and stuff with you, like maybe off stream sometime. And then we can
Definitely.
because I know that on stream, like if someone, like if Richard's telling something on stream or talking to somebody, even if if it's very thought provoking, you can't really think it all the way through in the middle of a stream.
That is true. We did bring up a few things like that we want to talk about
So like,
later, maybe.
And I don't like to talk about certain things that I just came up with because obviously they're not fully thought out.
Yeah.
And then you might, then sometimes bad information gets out. Don't want that.
Stream was denser than a bowl of microwaved oatmeal.
Dude, I love microwaved oatmeal.
Ooh, I'm getting kind of hungry now.
Oh yeah, I was saying my one video, because some people were kind of upset that they didn't even know about it before, but then once they're aware, they're upset. They're like, hey, this AMM bot owns so much of this stuff. How's that good? And it's like the alternative is all the liquidity is sparse and split across, and all those people who own that liquidity can just remove their Pulse and their other tokens from the network at will, like a huge amount.
Right.
So do we want that, or do you want best order execution, lowest fees over here in this special DEX, and it's all centralized liquidity? Like it's all in the same spot, so everyone's getting the best order execution.
It removes the need for liquidity aggregators like 1inch.
True.
Right? Because like I remember thinking at first, is 1inch going to come over and play the game, redeploy? And now it's like, well, it doesn't even matter because if you have centralized liquidity, like the they're not really necessary until competing AMMs to PulseX actually come in and start.
Yeah.
You know,
Plus, we
maybe
basically
improving on
destroy
the
the
games.
competition
Mhm.
right off the bat. Because how are they supposed to get that? This is an interesting idea I had. There's so you know how like there's all this liquidity currently in pools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we know a majority of any token is value. It's not in active liquidity. It's
Right.
outside
Right.
of the market. But there's
Mhm.
still like most of the active participants are active like with a large amount in the pools. So there is lots in the pools from like active participants. Well, whenever we take basically all of their tokens with this AMM bot extracting the Pulse copies, all those big whales, because like who's providing these millions of tokens and stuff in these pools? Usually they're larger players. Sometimes it's a mixture of lots of smaller guys, but basically we're removing the power from those whales in a way, and they basically have to almost buy their own coins back if they want them. They're forced into being liquidity within the system as opposed to them having all of these extra coins available and owned by them. It's kind of owned by the community in a way because they become the liquidity that's available to everybody against their will. They don't have a choice. You're coming along.
That's a good
And your
point.
coins are in the game, like, and they were the biggest players.
That's such a good point. But I didn't thought about it that way. It's like, yo, you're an LP over here. Guess what? You don't have the same position over here, but you can get it back if you play the game over here.
Yep.
It's genius.
Yeah, they're forced to come over and buy their position back pretty much.
Huh.
And those are big players, like people who have if it's any sort of multi-million-dollar pool or something like that, which are a couple hundred are on Uniswap, those guys will realize, oh, I have free coins over there, but they probably didn't know that if they didn't remove their liquidity, they're losing lots of their tokens. Like they would do a lot better removing their liquidity beforehand. So, but that's why we're not announcing the exact date or time or block even of the thing, because these people, if they're smart, they might actually remove some of the liquidity. If you make it too easy for them, they'll all do it, So, because we would rather we have all their coins owned by this entity that wants the PulseChain to flourish, as opposed to these random entities that may or may not have the same beliefs as us.
Right. It's about aligning incentives for the health of the network.
Yeah, it's really crazy how a lot of things come down to game theory.
Yeah, it really is. You'd go deep with this, like
it's
behavioral science and whatnot, like people's incentives, and you can go deep with it, man. But another good talking point that I thought about to see Pulse flourish, because obviously every transaction burns fees. And if you look on etherscan.io and look at the gas guzzlers, usually it used to be number one was Uniswap. Have you seen what it is these days?
Is it like NFTs minting?
Yep, it's OpenSea.
Spamming it.
Yep. So then it's like, okay, that's another huge incentive for those guys to come over. And obviously, like we've talked about liquidity with these tokens and whatnot, but when you start talking about things that don't generally have liquidity, then it's like, you have a whole.
Yeah, I mean, we would love if there was more usage of the PulseChain. That's people over here, people who own NFTs. It's usually not all they own. They buy other things too, other coins. They're in crypto.
Is that true? I'm not sure, because I don't know. Like someone who joins crypto today and is like Gen Z or whatever, they buy their first entry is like some ape or something, some JPEG.
Dude, imagine if that was your intro to crypto. You're like, yeah, I bought these JPEGs. That was my first crypto. It's like, oh no, I don't know.
I don't know, man, but it's going to be a better environment, hopefully, for those guys too.
It is interesting though, because I think Richard's right that these things are actually fungible because they have price floors. What's that mean? That means if someone buys another one, they're moving up the price of yours. So they are basically interchangeable. Technically, they're slightly different. It's like but what you care about is the price.
Yeah.
So if the price is moving up, it's like, okay, well, they're basically fungible then. No one would buy these things if they didn't think it would go up in price.
There's no
unless it was very, very, very cheap, like $5, and I got a monkey. I'm like, oh, okay.
I mean, is there a way to bridge in your NFTs? or no?
Oh,
Someone would have to build
I
that
haven't thought of that. That's funny. Why would they do that?
just
I
to
guess.
not have to pay
Oh,
up the yin yang for
you're
like a
right.
mint
Huh.
or something. Or
You know
like,
that actually might be a useful thing
I
because
don't know.
you could bridge it in. Then when it might be because there are some NFTs you can use to like farm with and stuff.
Hmm.
So if they have a bridged in ape, they can farm it over here cheaper than doing it over on Ethereum. So might be something.
Something, right? But
Don't you do some NFT stuff?
I'm actually talking to some. Okay, I'm trying to think how much I can say with this.
Ooh,
Ooh,
secret
ooh,
stuff,
ooh,
guys.
secret
Close
stuff.
your eyes, close your ears.
Close your
Just
eyes,
him and
close
I are
your.
talking now. Just him
Yeah,
and I.
there's not 362 people watching right now. Definitely not. Um,
I'm sure they're all not listening while we can talk in private.
no, I'm sure you've seen some of the attempts at creating something like. Let me start differently.
Were you talking about
The,
attempts?
let me start differently. The
Oh.
incentive to create PulseX, what was that? It was obviously there was like a bunch of incentives for Richard to create it, but it's like if we don't do it, someone else will.
Hmm.
That's a huge part of it, right? Someone will create potentially the best AMM on PulseChain. And so
Yeah.
if you have something which is the top gas guzzler, something like OpenSea,
Mm.
someone else is going to create it. And Richard himself has talked about like,
Are you telling me you're gonna make an OpenSea?
I'm not saying I'm going to do anything, but I'm saying I am
Dude.
potentially working with some folks who are doing some cool stuff. And
Okay.
yeah, that is the goal. It would be cool to see a Hexskin/PulseSkin created marketplace that dominates and takes over
All right, no
versus
spoilers, but what are you gonna call your OpenSea?
no spoilers. You'll know the name. You'll know the name
That
once you
sounds
hear
super
it.
cool, dude. That sounds like a fun project.
It is a really fun
Because I mean,
project.
you're fulfilling a need, and people are gonna do it anyway.
There you
Might
go.
as well.
That's literally the entire thesis is, yo, someone is going to do this. Maybe it's OpenSea themselves. They're already doing what, $160 million volume per day. Like, I don't think they need more money. I think they're good for a minute. Like, let someone else who has huge incentive to want to see Hex pump, PulseX pump. Like,
yeah, one created by
let the
Hexagons.
community do it. There you go. And that's what crypto is about. That's what distributed systems are
I mean,
about.
there is the one thing that I think about though is like, okay, if people do buy these say an NFT of an ape or something, they were encouraged to buy it. That's money that they didn't buy Hex, Pulse, or PulseX with.
Totally.
So I'm like, man, I don't know about that. That is the one thought I have. That's probably my biggest. I don't know.
Wait, what you just said that someone who uses their money to buy
Like
something like that didn't use
ape.
it to buy this other thing.
Yeah.
What if those? No, that's a really good point actually. The trade-off, right? The opportunity cost.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's still, people like certain stuff. You can't really stop them sometimes,
Right.
but it's almost like you hope someone who's already financially stable would buy it as opposed to someone who's not,
I mean, that is of course the goal. It's like if you're making minimum wage, are you really going to buy a Mona Lisa and try to like flip that? Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, go flip some garage, go Gary Vee and go garage sale flipping first.
Yeah. What do you think far into how NFTs may become something interesting? More
I
so
like.
than people say they're like more of like a status symbol type thing, and I could kind of see that, but it's still kind of like, oh, look at this picture of the thing I own. Are people impressed? I don't think so.
I think
People act like they are.
No, I think their utility is the same as many of these tokens, right? It's like you hope the number will go up.
Yeah, number
You
go
hope
up.
someone else will buy it after you, and that's like most assets. Like they don't. Back to the utility meme. Like, do we need utility? I don't know, man. Like, do we need a little ticker, a cool little ticker?
Well,
this is just like another bigger square version of a ticker. Like it's all the same.
It's almost like, how we say liquidity, low liquidity is good.
Right.
Then you would think, wow, NFTs are the best for a price up and price down.
Yeah.
Because you could sell
Everyone
it
wants this
for
one
whatever.
thing. Like,
but it's also I don't know. It's like you're splitting up the liquidity risk versus no one wants to buy my NFT now. I technically have zero. Whereas like if you have some coin and the price goes down a lot, you're not at zero. It's like, I don't know. That's your difference. It's like really weird. Because I don't know, NFTs do go up a lot. Like I've seen some that just go, they kind of have this steady. They have like price charts for them and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's very similar.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just kind of avoided the whole NFT scene, and I know lots of people who got into it, and then some did well, some didn't. The NFT,
Right.
I only NFT I participated in, I lost 50% of my money. I'll just say that. It was
Got
like
it.
it was a very. Oh, wait, did I make money? No.
You
Oh
remember?
no. I think I put in like 2 ETH, and then this was a while back, and each I think it was for the initial price was like 0.22 or something for each little piece of something. It was like an art gallery or something. And I got in because I was like, dude, everyone's making money on NFTs. This one someone else told me about. I'm gonna check it out. And so I got some, and I ended up only being able to resell one of the things that I got out of it for 1 ETH. And I still have all these other ones that are worth nothing. So I put in 2 ETH, got one back, and I have all these extra NFTs that are worth nothing. And so that was my NFT experience. So I'm a little biased.
Should have sold them instead of bought them, right? I should have sold some.
Right.
Wow. And someone in the chat says the only NFT I got was Snoop Dogg blunt. Nice. Someone said the actual art isn't on the blockchain. It's just JPEGs on some dude server. Yes, that is correct. Factual.
Do you own any NFTs that you didn't create for yourself?
Yeah, actually.
Weren't a part of.
You see that guitar? Can you see the guitar back there? Kind of. Right in the corner, behind the whiteboard. Let's see if I can move it real quick.
No. Oh. That.
Is it?
Oh, I see the handle. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So that's an Avenged Sevenfold Sinister Gates Schecter guitar I got like 10 years ago. I've always been a fan of Avenged Sevenfold, and they dropped their whole like Death Bat Club NFT recently.
Wait, did they sing that "Hail to the King" song?
Yeah, that one
Dude,
goes hard.
Love that song. That gets me hyped up.
Dude, that's such a good riff. Like the beat.
That is amazing.
I was actually playing that yesterday.
Oh, dude,
oh, so
I
good.
listened to that on repeat for like a long time. It's like my hype song.
There's this dude who did a reaction video on it from a few months ago. It's so funny. His reaction
just reacted to the song.
Yeah, the music video. Super funny.
Okay.
But yeah, I was no, I did mint one of theirs. They did like a 10,000 Death Bats drop. I think it was like was it like points?
It was like a community coin kind of thing. You're part of the cool class.
Look, man, I hadn't gone to one of their concerts since I was like 12. So it's like I haven't supported this band like directly monetarily, other than like obviously watching their music videos and stuff. Like bought an album. Like who buys albums nowadays?
Right.
So I was like, I haven't supported them in so long.
True.
Like just I'm gonna mint this. I'm gonna keep it. Whatever. It'll be a nice little memorabilia. And to your point, it's like I'm not trying to flip this thing. It's something I can definitely afford. It's like, okay, it'll be fine. And maybe that aspect of it is chill. But they allegedly airdropped, not allegedly, but they airdropped a concert ticket to my OpenSea as well. And it's like, I don't know how that's going to be redeemable or whatnot, but that's pretty cool. I
definitely like how you can get like the owner, or I guess whoever deploys it, if people want to support the person that way, it's basically uncensored support.
There you go.
I'd like that aspect a lot, like, because they can get 100% of the money, as opposed to 20 middlemen getting in between and be like, oh, I signed this and I get this percent. It's like, no, the artist gets it all. Good. They're the one creating all the content. We don't need these middlemen, So that's what crypto does. It gets rid of middlemen. Streamlines it, peer-to-peer digital cash, basically. So I do like that aspect. That's pretty cool for helping artists and people who, if you want to support someone, that's a great way to do it. NFTs probably.
Yeah, it can be. And you can, like, for example, they can, or anyone who sells NFTs, they have the addresses of the holders, right? It's on Etherscan. It's public data. So in perpetuity, if you wanted to, you had projects in the future or whatnot, you just airdrop your users for forever, man. Like I got
Huh.
airdropped some concert tickets from A7X. Who knows what they'll do in the future? Like I
Huh.
like that aspect of like on chain, verifiable support from people. You can
Yeah, that's
whitelist
true.
them
I
for the
didn't even think
future.
about
So
that. They can just send you more stuff over time, like to their community that has
right.
supported them, and they have way more money now that they're able to direct to their peers or who they're, getting support from, and so they're probably doing better, so they can give out more free stuff. It's like, oh
Precisely.
man, what a great loop of awesomeness!
Yeah. So
Oh
yeah,
man, I like that.
some
That's
cool
pretty
stuff,
sweet.
man. Yeah.
So you've seen them in concert?
Yeah, before the Rev died, rest his soul, bro. Like their
Rev?
drummer died.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
a while back.
oh, I
But
didn't know
I
that.
got
I'm
to
not
see
a,
him. Got to see all of
yeah.
them, and it was amazing. I was young and just loved him ever since. Just like crushing it. Yeah, it's
Wow,
cool to see.
you must have been standing next to the subwoofer and it did a number on your hair.
Yeah. Gave me superpowers. But yeah, man.
I shouldn't talk. Everyone makes fun of my hair, so.
Really? What did they say about it?
You haven't seen the Jimmy Neutron memes?
No, I haven't.
Mm.
Okay. See, I didn't watch that too much as a kid, but now that you mention it, it's like, oh, okay. Then I can't unsee it. No.
Right. I didn't get it yet. Actually, I probably shouldn't release my own meme on myself, so I won't. But there's another character from a show I watched growing up that I have hair like. You ever watch? I guess I'll say it. Have you ever watched Yu-Gi-Oh? That Yu-Gi-Oh cartoon?
Oh my god, that was my childhood.
Yeah, let's go. Oh man,
that was my childhood, bro.
Pathetic cards in my grandpa's deck.
Right.
But Tristan, he basically has a hair that just is a point. I was told that in high school. Even a teacher got me one time.
Nice.
Man, hilarious.
I hadn't thought of that. He was like the one dude who couldn't duel of the whole group.
That show's amazing, dude.
It was the best. Dang, you're a Yu-Gi-Oh fan right now.
I still have my cards.
Nice. I only ever got one of the Egyptian god cards. I got the Slifer.
Oh, which one?
I was so stoked. The Red Dragon.
I might have Raw. I'm not sure. Yeah, Slifer, he's like, he gets 1,000 attack per card in hand. Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I haven't played that in years.
Yeah. It was fun. It's fun stuff. So much changes in that game. There's a lot of new rules. Crazy.
Beeflo says, how boomer does this sound? I actually went to high school with him. Is he talking about Avenged Sevenfold? He was in science class with the drummer, the Rev. He was a senior. I was a freshman. He was too focused on academics. Are we talking about A7X here?
That's what it sounds like.
That's crazy.
Talking about the drummer.
Beeflo, that's crazy, bro. Wow. Epic. Just like, going to a class with legends, man. It's really cool. Someone says, if you and I were a rap duo, what would our stage name be? These comments, man, I swear.
Rap duo, dude, you don't want to hear me rap.
Okay. We have rappers in the Hex community, so go check out.
You don't want to hear me rap.
No, I'll.
Well, you probably would, but I don't want
to. HBHS class 2001. Wow, dude, that's epic.
Tell him he sounds boomer because he sounded insecure about it.
I know it. If Beeflo is on Twitter, I'm gonna follow.
Did you see that the real Godwill responded to my tweet?
Yeah, he like.
Oh, crazy! I was not expecting that because he hasn't said anything in months.
Yeah,
at least that I was aware of. I don't know. Does he tweet regularly?
No, he does not.
Well, he freaking responded and he like gave me glowing praise. I was like, dude, there's no way this guy with hundreds of millions of dollars likes my videos.
Hey man, I was blown away when he followed me. I was like, oh, and then
he follows you too. I didn't even check if he's following me.
I think so. When I saw him reply to you, I was like, oh, he likes him.
I didn't know. Oh my, yeah, that's so cool. Wow, I guess maybe he was been following me this whole time. I didn't know because I would have made something about that earlier.
Well, here you go. Mention it right here. We have 330 people watching. So.
No, that was so cool because he said a nice thing on top. He wasn't just like, hi, That's pretty cool.
Really cool, man. And you alluded to the 7777, which was really nice.
Yeah, because I was like waiting looking at my subscriber count because I was like 7775, and I was like, I better get because 7777 is way cool.
That is really cool.
And so I was like, oh, you better get a picture of this. But like sometimes you'll get like a skip of 2, and then you're like, oh, 7778. Who posts that? Not me.
Right.
So I was like waiting for like an hour at my computer doing other stuff, and I'd go back and check. Oh, it's one away. I had to snag the screenshot at the right time. I wasn't gonna edit it.
Of course not. You got it. Well, you got it, so that's good.
It was funny. Let's see. So I'm gonna ask you a hard question.
Go ahead.
All right. Which one do you think is gonna perform better, PulseX, Pulse, or Hex on either chain?
After this conversation, oof.
I hate when people ask me. You don't have to answer, but
no, I mean, I want to say PulseX, man.
Ooh, everyone heard it here. Gerardo, PulseX bull. Let's go. You're gonna love charting it. You're gonna be like, oh, and here's where the extra buy pressure came in. Oh, yeah. Here's another one.
Dude, it's. I mean, many points that were brought up in this very stream, right? Like, the liquidity aspect, like, oh, Pulse might have deeper liquidity than PulseX, so more performance potentially. You've seen, to your point, right, like something on top of the substrate can outperform the native coin of the substrate itself, like you talked about in that one video. We've seen it with Hex. We see it with Amazon outperforming UPS, and so on.
Yep.
And so
that was what Rich has been saying that for a long time.
Right. So if you listen to what he says and you connect the dots, then you can get some really interesting theories.
I think
dancing around your head.
Yeah, I think these DEX coins, first off, they're all inflationary except for ours, which is omega huge, like crazy. Because if you look at the inflation rates on like Cake in the early days, I looked up some old charts. It was literally like doubling its supply every like month or two, so like 1 or 2 months. And it was like, and it pumped 230x, you say? But that was from its bottom. And the reason it went so low is because they had like that syrup pool hack. They had this double coin system that didn't work, and they ended up nixing the whole syrup basically aspect because people were able to basically, in a way, they would lock up their cake and get syrup, but then they were able to basically pull out their cake and redo it again and basically get more syrup for the same cake without like it didn't like remove their syrup. So they were able to just like they could just like keep dumping this coin, and so they were able to. So the price, you can see like people were extracting the value of the network that from people who were unawares, and that's why it's just dump until they were like, yeah, we're gonna stop the this contract, and they said, and then from there it just went up only. So it just dumped because of the exploit, and then went up. So PulseX may not, and they also have huge liquidity. You know, these ones they usually have like 50 million plus liquidity in these things, so that's like a lot. It is. Hex only has that amount now. Earlier days, I think earlier in the year, even not this year, but a year ago, it was like $3 million, $4 million of liquidity, something like that. And now we've really grown, and there's a lot more liquidity. PulseX is going to start with like $5 million liquidity. How easy is that to move up 10x? You know,
really easy.
Let's go. Let's go from all those. Even a little bit of buy and burn is going to crush it. That means if no one does anything and just that address buys, we're up. We keep Xing, right? And that's if no one else buys.
Yeah.
I'm not even excited. I'm super psyched. You're going to Las Vegas, right?
I'd like to, right? I don't know. I have to publicly apologize to Maddie right now that I didn't buy the ticket on time.
You can still buy them.
You can still buy them?
Yeah.
Yo.
You have to buy them tomorrow, though.
Wait, really? Why?
I think they're only available on Tuesdays. It's like a weird system. Really?
Interesting.
Yeah, something like that. I think it's only $369 still, so it didn't even go up in price, I don't think, until the very last 100. So it'll go up to like a higher price, I think, if you don't get it.
It'll panic.
But you don't get a free lunch. No. I don't even
It's
think I'm
okay.
part of the free lunch because only the first 400 bot get like a
Yeah.
free lunch during the thing. I don't know. Guess I'll just starve or something.
Hey man, if any of you guys in Vegas want to buy us lunch so we don't starve, we'll talk your heads off about crypto if you'd like. That'll
Yeah,
be the exchange.
I'm trying to schedule my flights like
That'd be
today or
fun.
tomorrow.
You know what, man? I haven't gotten around to that, but I'd like to go. I don't know if I'll go to like every single panel, every single event. Like I might want to do my own thing.
Oh.
I'm a little introverted. You know, even though I do social media, it's actually just me in a room by myself. So
I feel you.
But yeah, I'll probably be around, talk to people, take pictures. Like it'll be fun, man.
Yeah, it's from like I think it's 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day.
Mhm.
That from 6 through 9, the 9th.
Right.
So yeah,
I'd like to be there. It'll be fun. I've never been to Vegas, actually.
I've been there before a few times, but never when I was able to gamble. So probably a benefit. So yeah, I was younger when I went.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's fun. It's just cool to see new places and kind of big, tall buildings and some stuff. I think I rode like there's like the Sear Tower or something that's really tall, and there's like a roller coaster up there. I've ridden that. That was kind of interesting. They like put you over the edge of the building and then rotate, and you're like, I don't know if you're like a mile up or something, but really high.
That's really, really high.
I was laughing the whole time.
Nice.
It was crazy. It was fun.
Someone
I think it'll
says,
be cool to see everybody.
dude, I'm so down to see everyone. Like, so many cool people. I feel like there won't be enough time to talk to everyone.
Oh,
Curious,
Buffo.
yeah. Can you remind us your excellent comparison between PulseX and the New York Stock Exchange? Oh, just stock buybacks. He wants to clip it. He wants to soundbite it.
Oh, clip it. Well, basically, how well do you think a stock would do, like Apple stock, if every other stock on the stock exchange, every fee involved with buying or selling of any other stock, if those were gathered up by an entity and then own all that value it accrued, it used it to only buy Apple stock? How well do you think Apple stock's going to do? I think it's going to do extremely well. That's PulseX, basically. It's the one gathering value from every other crypto, and then it pumps itself up and removes it from supply. It's not like someone gets it who can sell it later. It's just buys it and then removes it.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, it's a good
It's a
one.
great analogy. I hadn't thought of it that way. No wonder they wanted that soundbite. No, yeah.
I mean, if they know I've said that before, then they could have got sound bites from those ones. So I don't know why they wanted it again. But
yeah, that's true. It's probably hiding in one of those 2-hour videos you got.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I should just do shorter videos, but
no, dude, it's good.
Yeah.
Well, look, there's benefit to both. So you've seen my channel. I try to do both, like topic specific. Like, okay, we're just gonna talk about the 300-day MA in this video. Get that very unique as SEO and maybe 8-10 minutes, and then make a whole live stream like this, like 2 hours. So you like want to rotate in both a little bit.
Yeah. It's just for some reason I feel like I need to put more in a little video or something because I want to make it really compact, full of stuff. And even though these like little ideas are good, I don't know if they're video worthy. You know, so it's like I got to.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Maybe I could do shorter videos that just not simple, but shorter and concise stuff from all this long form stuff. I bet we had like 5 to 10, 15 different singular points that could be small shorts.
You know what? That's such a great point. Like it reminds me that I've thought about making a clips channel or just like a channel for shorts, or maybe just putting the shorts on this channel. What do you guys think in the comments? Are clips channels annoying? Because you see all these like podcasts with like podcasts and then podcast clips and whatnot. So
yeah,
I don't know. Or do you prefer shorts on the main?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think's better for your own like channel or outreach growth? If you have a separate channel that also grows kind of alongside you, is that better, you think, than all of it on one channel? Because that's risky too if YouTube starts ban hammering.
Yes, precisely. I think you distribute the risk of censorship and bans if you get a clips channel, for example.
Then you still have a second channel at least, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So like if you do a backup emergency live stream, they're like, "Yo, I just got deleted. Go Twitter blast or something." Also having the Telegram channels like you and I, like it's really great. But
I was gonna say, do you have a Telegram channel?
yeah, t.me/lookintohex. Like
Oh, okay.
1400,
Is it mostly like
1500
charts in
members.
there, or what do you guys talk about?
We mainly, well, like the goal of it to not leech like conversations from like t.me hex crypto or PulseChain.com or all that. It's just like the goal is obviously talk about the look in hex charts and
Oh, and
kind
like
of like
what people would like to see, they give it ideas.
yeah,
Yeah, because
like
there's
idea.
there's
We
definitely
obviously
lots of cool stuff to chart that makes it easier for people to understand the data. So that's like very valuable because I definitely do like visuals. I can also like learn through reading and also, other ways, but visuals do help a lot.
Yeah, they do.
So it's very valuable. How
Cool, yeah, I know.
How did you get into making charts like this anyway? When was the first one you made and you were like, I'm gonna post it?
Oh man, that's a cool memory, right? Interesting.
Probably need super memory because that was probably a while ago because you've been doing this for a bit now.
Not even a year, believe it or not, but
What? Really?
or the like the public stuff, but charting, yeah, for a while. But the first chart I made that really like blew my mind, I guess, because there were probably charts I made before for Hex.
So you only really started making these special charts for Hex, right? You weren't like an XRP maximalist and made XRP charts this good.
No.
Probably because their charts aren't good. So you making that
making-
chart would make you think about selling your bag instead of keeping it.
It wouldn't be advertisement
That
worthy.
would be hilarious.
No.
Because since you're so good at it, you basically, it's good that you found a good coin. Because imagine if you were charting bad coins, you'd be like, oh, we're still doing worse than Bitcoin and Ethereum, guys. Yeah, it's just going down into the right. It'd be a really good chart though. So good thing you found this group that has the best coin performance. It's fun to show it off, right?
It really, really is.
You're just like, boom, look at this.
Yeah, when you create a good chart and it hits you for the first time, you see it for the first time. There's no feeling like it. And to your question, like what was the first one that really blew my mind? It was the Hex versus ETH chart.
Yeah, but that was fun to find out. You were like, holy crap.
I was like, oh my goodness. Just it basically, back in the day, I was making these bullish videos. I was like, yeah, we could see 5 cents. We could see 10, 20, 30, 40 cents. And I was talking about these price levels and they seemed nuts to me. I almost want to go back and look at some of these, but like it happens and we're here. And
yeah, that'd be a cool callback. You'd be like, guess who had a video a year ago? This guy.
Right. I probably do
that's
have
good content right there.
A ton of bragging rights deep buried in there.
I think Richard does that sometimes. He'll look back and he like, I think for a while there he didn't remember that he actually told people it's a good short entry at the one area, and he looked back and eventually was like, oh, I also called this.
Right.
So sometimes you look back and if you ever made any sort of prediction and it came true, that's worth bragging about.
100%. Yeah.
Don't remind him of the ones you got wrong though, just the right ones.
Look, I've gotten plenty wrong. Honestly, you could
not you
dunk on me and
personally,
make no, I've gotten a few wrong, but like people could also clip those and dunk on me if they wanted to.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that.
Yeah, if they're nice.
Clout chasers. If it's like bad press is still good press overall. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
It was like, oh, you're clipping me. Guess who's living whose narrative? Got him.
That's a good point. Like you're thinking about me. Thank you.
Yeah, you're living up there rent free, dude.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's
especially when you're just like your face is your brand, I guess, or your whatnot. When you actually put yourself out there.
Yeah, I'm so glad I decided to make videos. It's all been going great.
I'm glad you decided to start making videos as well. Like where's this guy been? Kind of thing. Like,
yeah. Imagine if I was here earlier. I was in December 2019. I made 4 videos, and I'm pretty sure they were all shadow banned on YouTube. I was like, all right, I guess because like the first video got like only 200 views. The next one's 10, 14. I was like, what's wrong with this? They didn't have my face in it. It was just showing people. It was like, what are the 3 important things about Hex or something? It was like most important things about Hex and what's its use case and stuff like that. But then I was like, I guess I'm not gonna keep doing these videos because I didn't get any views. So I was like, I'm shadow banned. This sucks. But I was telling people how to use the referral system as well in the
Oh,
video
nice.
in the early days. So I did get some referral stuff from that.
Nice.
I also posted all over 4chan my link and stuff.
Trying to
That
become
was so funny.
a shillionaire.
Yeah, Shillionaire. That was such a great way to, because it's not like a multi-level marketing thing
No,
where
no,
you're,
no.
getting people to do it. It was just,
Single level.
hey, they get more and you get more
Yeah.
if you get people involved. So it got the community
Mhm.
learning about outreach and how to get more people involved early. And I bet everyone who I told about it, if they held, they were like, that was the best advice I ever got.
That's a good point.
Like
Like,
if you were that 14th guy to find my video back then,
mhm.
boom, enjoy that 10,000x.
I forgot about that. The fact that the contract would actually mint extra hex for the referrals.
Yeah,
That's
very
that's
smart way to do
interesting.
it.
That's a very smart design. Like I wouldn't even know how to begin to build something like that. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think it was proprietary too, because Richard was like, "Good luck figuring out that," because I think he was talking
Yeah.
to all the other people trying to copy Hex early on and stuff.
Yeah.
He was like, "Good luck."
What a G.
It's so cool though. I think it's cool that whenever you create something in this world, we kind of respect the original creator usually. And like you're like, all right, you own this. You figured it out first. And there's like laws that kind of prevent people from
Oh
doing
yeah.
the stuff. And people kind of they understand who was actually first usually.
Uh-huh.
Even if there are copies, it's usually not as good. So
Yeah, man.
I like that. It's
That's
important
definitely.
to give incentive to people to create and put effort out there. 'Cause if
Mhm.
all your efforts went to someone else, where you're like, no, that sucks.
Mhm.
That's bad. Yeah, that's why like don't want to get too against the system on the stream and get it taken down.
Yeah, of course not. Can't say the wrong thing.
Yeah. Oh, how lame is that?
I mean, it's really lame, man.
All right. Well, I think we
Yeah,
did cover a lot in this video.
knocked it out of the park. Thank you for coming on, bro. This is dense. I know that people love
Yeah.
you. I watch your content, put it on in the background while I'm doing my thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Keep doing your thing.
Yeah, I watch your stuff too. You got to
Thanks,
make
man.
more videos, man.
I do.
I got to make more videos. What am I saying? I went 2 weeks
Yeah.
without making them. That was bad.
Now, this was a one I've been wanting to make for a while, so I'm glad and
Mm,
honored I got to debut that PulseX crazy diagram with you. That's pretty cool.
yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, yeah, I
Show
mean,
your stuff and
oh, sure.
yeah, Telegram,
You guys,
Twitter.
if you like high in depth kind of like analyses or whatever, it's not charting. I don't do that really, but it's more the mechanics of certain coins and how the system works. I'll like explain that in a more simple way, as simple as I can get it usually. Some of the stuff is still complex. Like you need like the base layer stuff. It's kind of like math. Like, oh, you can't do this before you learn this. So I do try and make those steps. This is the longest shill ever. Anyway, the K4K crypto on YouTube and at K4K crypto on Twitter. Those are my main handles. And I also have a Telegram chat.
You do.
It's only for people who want to learn and it's not about how to create a wallet and extra support stuff. It's really about figuring out game mechanics and understanding stuff. So if that interests you, it's t.me/pulse theory. So that's really cool.
It is really cool because you've actually answered some of my questions that I've had in there.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, so it's good stuff. Like a lot of real learning going on in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
guys.
awesome. Like some people get caught up to like what I'm figuring out. Like they understand all the stuff that I've been talking about for a few weeks now, and now they're actually able to help me figure out the harder stuff that I'm stuck with,
Right.
which is
It's
great.
a collaborative effort.
Mhm.
It's really cool, man. Yeah, I'll make sure to include those links down there. Don't let me forget if I don't.
Sure.
But yeah, as for my stuff, you probably know, always links in the description. LookIntoHex.com is my main go-to kind of proud moment in this community. Proud creation. A lot of people use it for onboarding, specifically this chart that I've had here just chilling in front of us this whole time. So yeah, that I really need a better username. It's Gerardog, GERAWRDOG on Twitter.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how you spelled that or anything. It's hard to find.
It's Gerardog without the W on YouTube.
Oh my,
Yeah.
dude.
I know.
That's
I know.
rip.
It's rip. Yeah. T.me/lookintohex if you want to chat about these charts, have any cool ideas for new charts, want to just say hello. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think we'll call it there. Thanks for coming on, K4K. This has been a great
Thanks for
one.
having me, man.
And yeah, we'll chat soon.
Alrighty, peace out, y'all.
Alrighty. Peace out, everyone.